Advanced philosophy memes. We have made good memes. Advanced philosophy memes. Base fucking memes. Advanced philosophy memes. We have made good memes. Advanced philosophy memes. Base fucking memes. Shoutouts to Aquarius, D-Club, my boy Scott, Pedro, and everyone else that engages on my posts. And Sarah, keep it up, man. You'll get there someday. And everyone else from Great Memes.
Bro, what's up, bros? How's it
up?
going?
Hey,
So
guys.
today I was on a.
I can actually see you now.
That's a good start, but that's because it's a frozen frame, so I don't know. Today I was at a quiet beach, finally not crowded. It was mostly empty. And then all of a sudden, a couple busloads of these Bosnian brats, aged 6 to 12, maybe like 100 of them, all surrounded me like it was the war. I woke up from relaxing and worry and surprise, and they were all like a foot from me, putting umbrellas up like flags, claiming territory. It was like I was their Kosovo. Then the Bosnian techno music started, and they were dancing and shaking their Slavic selves, and I was immediately terrified. I had to escape with nothing, just like the war.
You should have read it
Dude,
slower
you
for
right?
dramatic effect.
Yeah, it just seemed like real. But yeah, and then I shaved my face, and it's like, oh, it's so weird. I don't know.
And you
It's
barely
all
got
right.
out of there with the hair on your face.
Yeah, the skin of my teeth, chin. How are you guys doing? What have you guys been up to? What's been going? Let's start with Jordan. Jordan, what have you been up to?
Just been working and just trying to keep track of all the nonsense that's been going on in the world with
Trying to stay
with
alive.
everything. Yeah, but no, man, nothing too new. Just hanging with my turtles and rocking things like a G. That's about it, man. Nothing new on this.
Turtles do move really slowly, so that's a good pace of life. What about
right.
you, Vincent? What have you been up to?
Well, I just moved earlier this month, so like life's been hectic in terms of like trying to, I guess, get settled down and finding a new job and all these sort of things. But life's good.
Montreal?
No, I live like about hour and a half, 2 hours from Montreal now. I have like corn for neighbors, you know.
Nice.
Corn's good.
Yeah.
I see people selling corn.
So yeah, life's been good. Trying to get back into the creative flow. I gotta take a little shamanic trip at some point soon to get back into sync, and yeah, that's pretty much life's. I can't
Pretty
complain.
base. What about Bernie? Bernie's been on an adventure. I know Bernie like traveled around the world, like the genie in Aladdin 2, Return of Jafar.
Right, I'm on the adventure of a lifetime right now. I was at Tesla Tech where I did my first public presentation. It was a great success. I actually got offers for jobs from it. It made friends with Terrence Howard and Dr. Wei Ping Yu from NASA. That was pretty epic. Then we drove with my man Aiden right here. Shout out Aiden for me.
What's up, Aiden?
And then we went to Utah, to Duchesne, Utah for the Moon Lake Gathering, Terry Carter's event. That was pretty epic. And after that, we went and we explored Arches National Park, Moab, and currently we are driving on our way to Roswell. I was hoping to be in Roswell before this started, but we're on the
It
road.
could still happen.
It's
It
for
might.
choppy.
It might work out. I mean, I wanted to say, like, you have the better CIA, like RCMP frog skins. Those are the alternatives to your regular Oakleys. That's the way you want to look if you're a deep state underscored.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, so there was a
activated agent.
CIA agent named Stu that was apparently looking for me at Tesla Tech, and one of the nights there was this dude just camped out right in front of my hotel room, and I was like, and I kept sending like the girls up to check, and he didn't move, so that was kind of sketchy, but I'm still here, so hooray.
It's good to be an activated Freemason. Oh man, we just got our first super chat of the show. Thank you very much, RGZ Mac. I love you, man. They say, I love you too. I don't know why I said they, because you seem like a he. He says, he says, she says kind of thing. But dude, thank you already, because that immediately goes far where I'm at, and it's pretty valuable. I appreciate that. Hey, Jake.
Xirtus, he's on the other side of the planet.
I mean, yeah, I'm on the underside where the elephants hold the flat earth up. Hey, Jake made it. Jake McLeod. Jack, I don't know why I keep saying Jake. My brain's like pumping. But Jack McLeod.
Yo. What's up, mother effers?
Why did it look dark? You're always driving, so I feel like I'm you today, but it's dark.
Yeah, I'm not driving right now. I'm in the back.
In his truck.
Fair. Gotcha.
He's in Alaska.
Where did you say you were living? Where are you living right now? Did you say you're living in Australia or something?
Me? I'm in the Tartarus. No, I'm in Montenegro. Montenegro. It's this. It's a Bosnian beach front for like Serbians. You know.
Does that mean like massively negroid?
Yeah,
like
right?
if it's Montenegro?
No, it's
like
black,
it's very negro.
Black Mountain. Yeah, Black Mountain. So basically, like a real quick history, there was the Socialist Federation of Yugoslavia, which was the Balkans, right? And we always use that word balkanization. I'm going to go back and eventually finish asking people how they work. So we're going to get to Chris, but just a little history lesson. Yugoslavia, now we say balkanization because it was all broken up and then recommanded and conquered, divided and conquered. But Serbia was particularly more associated with the Orthodox and the Russians, and Croatia and Slovenia. Like Slovenia was more associated with Austria and Germany, always Austro-Hungarian Empire. Albania, even to an extent, even though they're a Muslim state, mostly, not completely, but they have a lot of Muslims there. You'll see a lot of mosques there. Croatia was Catholic.
I swear the countries in that area have been redrawn like 40 times in the last 200 years. It's hard to keep up.
Well, like Yugoslavia was Yugoslavia, even though it was part of Austro-Hungary for a while, but they wanted to make it like Austro-Slavonian
too, and then it became the Czechs and Slovaks, right?
Well, they were the Czechs and the Slovaks, and then Soviet Union combined them together into one state. But then they went back to being how they always were. But Yugoslavia,
all those Slavic people is where my dad's side of the family comes from. My last name is not McLeod, it's Vesely, which means like super extremely blissful or happy in Slavic. Or if you want to be a dick. Means gay if you want to be a dick.
Jack's new nickname is Gaylord. That's how that's going to go. But okay, so there was the war.
McLeod.
You know about the war. Yugoslavia had a war. Serbians were basically trying to hold together their control over Yugoslavia, and they were losing it because Slovenia and Croatia had no interest in it. And they were also trying to force Muslims to become either Orthodox, or there was kind of a push for socialist atheism, but Orthodoxy was always like a nationalist thing to them. So the Croatians the Catholics bonded up with the Muslims, and the Bosnia-Herzegovina is filled with Muslims and Catholics and Orthodox. They were fighting against each other, and Montenegro was an Greek Orthodox, Serbo-Orthodox state that the Belgrade Serbians continued with. So even after Yugoslavia fell apart, I mean, the Orthodox, I don't know, I'm surrounded by them. It's getting kind of tedious. But the the Montenegrins are essentially Serbian. Like they're not really; they're their own people. But for until
They're also French
2006,
too, though, right?
I mean, I don't really think of them as French. I mean,
Isn't
they're
Montenegro just like the rich, like exclusive European country?
no, that's like Monaco. I think you're thinking of.
Oh, right,
Maybe.
Monaco. Right. I'm thinking of Monaco.
That
Where's
one.
Yeah, no, Montenegro
So
was where Croatians didn't go because they were Orthodox and Croatians are Catholic. And it's a place where the Serbians went because you could get from Belgrade, from the city to the beach, and then you'd see your, Orthodox patron saints and your Orthodox churches. So they're still here. Like everywhere I go, it looks like the picture behind you. Here, let me just how do I even hold? You know what I mean? With the pigs and the wolf, new pagodi, and the rabbit. Like that's basically what it looks like here. And they'll drive in. You'll see all these like big business cars. They've like BMWs and Volkswagens, but mostly like Mercedes and BMWs because they have so much money from being bureaucrats' grandkids who smuggled all the money out of the country beforehand, or smuggling cigarettes is a major thing here. Or smuggling drugs because they have a bay, the Kovac mafia is up north, or smuggling arms because there's lots of weapon smuggling, or just generally smuggling like people, places, and things. But it's not part of the European Union.
It's like Albania then.
Yeah, it's north of Albania. And so it's a little different than Albania. Albania's a little wild. Still pretty great place, but the flag's similar. They have the black crow on the Albanian flag, like a two-headed phoenix, but black crow, like Scottish, right? Symbol. Here they have they have a golden phoenix on the Montenegrin flag, two-headed, also like the Austro-Hungarian Empire.
do you think you'll ever come back to the States?
Yeah, like why not? Like to visit seems like
You gotta
a thing.
come visit me in Canada, bro.
Yeah, I got other places to go first. I feel like
Canada, bro.
Canada, bro.
Yeah.
So are you on like where do you think you'll land? Like, because you've been seemingly living like everywhere possible. Are you just kind of on a globe-trotting journey?
It'd be really nice to get
how you think
my
you
own
see
island.
yourself living all of your
I
life?
want to, some people want an island. I think I want a Galapagos. I want like a key of islands called the Islands of Andreas. I think that would be kind of a nice thing to do. Like
They don't all have to be sex islands that way.
No, true. Yeah.
Don't let your dreams become dreams.
The one's a cooking island. The other one's like a crochet island. It's great.
Yeah, balkanize all of the economies of the islands and then make command, divide, and conquer everyone there. That seems like the way to go. But so Montenegro was still part of the union with Serbia until 2006. So it's only a 19-year-old country. It's like one of the newest countries from the Balkans, besides like North Macedonia.
But it's legal at least.
What's legal? Oh yeah, I hear you. It is itself. That fair. I mean, yeah, it's a very cool place though. Oh, and Julia made it. Awesome. How's it going, Julia?
What's up?
Yo,
I have
Julia.
your cloak on.
Oh my god.
You gotta find
so
friends
great.
like Andreas that is in the wizard business.
It's true.
Wizard
You wanna-
man.
Can you do like is it okay to ask you for a twirl? Like, can you show them like your
Absolutely. Hold on, let me take off my
Check out this cape I made that she's wearing.
Whoa! You made that?
twirl.
How'd you make that?
It's true. With
Jelly.
the wonders of science and magic, any technology this advanced is indistinguishable from magic. So I just say it was magic. But I'm gonna ask Julia what she's up to.
What? I couldn't hear any of that.
What she's up. Oh, I was gonna ask you what you've been up to. Just what? Because that was the question, and then Chris is gonna be able to answer it because he's been sitting so patiently.
Okay. Wait, you're gonna ask me? You're asking me what I've been up to right now?
Yeah. What's up?
Well, I went to a funeral yesterday. That was difficult. But other than that, we went to Tesla Tech. Oh my god, Tesla Tech was amazing. It was so amazing, dude.
Wow.
Jerry Pollock.
You, right?
Yeah, I mean, Jerry Pollock was like, oh my gosh, that is my hero. I was like a little kid, just like, I don't know. I was just so giddy to meet him. And, he's the guy that wrote The Fourth Phase of Water. And I'm always quoting his electron theory, how it's not the oxygen we breathe that makes us thrive, that it's the electrons in it. Like he couldn't believe that I even knew that or talked about that. And dude, it was so cool. And then Morey B. King, like 0 Point Energy guy, like it was so awesome to talk to these guys and to see Bernie. You guys, Bernie was like walking around with playing music and dancing. He dances like my dad. Bernie dances like my dad.
Bernie.
This dude right here.
That's awesome. I mean, we can, if you want, I don't know how you feel like, if you want to talk about like how you feel about, was like their closure from the funeral, or was that something that was valuable? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. The funeral, it's so interesting because he was one of those people that he was like a concierge. You know, the friend that like was like, let me get this for you. Let me make this better. Let me make that better. But he was also like pure chaos, you know, like just pure chaos and excitement. And to see the turnout yesterday. But it's really interesting because there's actually a famous shooting that occurred at Cook's Corner, which is a famous biker bar in Trabuco Canyon. He was there when it happened. Wow. And he held he was there when it happened, and he held the woman that who died in his arms, and they were talking about, because he hasn't been the same since. And just talking about the way that trauma affected him, and like they're like, Brandon, he wasn't equipped. He's good to jump into action, but he wasn't equipped with how to deal with that in the aftermath. He was never the same. So just thinking about like trauma, how we respond to it, you know, what could we have done, because, you know, he did kill himself. And it's just like it's a lot of darker things that come up, and in closure, it's like a lot of people were pissed off, you know, of like, why would you do this? But the suffering and
love you.
Yeah.
Well, there was also the aspect that he had just like gotten arrested with a bunch of charges too, or something, right?
Yeah,
So
right. Well, this is the thing. This is what's tricky in this quantum weird universe. So I go to my girlfriend's house, right? And she lives a building over from me. And she had gone to trauma therapy that day, and she's like, look, I'm really struggling. My best friend was gunned down at Cook's Corner, blah, blah, blah. We were roommates. We were inseparable. I invite her out later on that night. Brandon's there. They get to talking. She's like, oh, yeah, well, my friend, you know, she died at Cook's Corner. He goes, Tanya? And she goes, yeah. And he goes, she died in my arms. And then that, like, talking about that trauma, I guess he had taken his Xanax, like, because it was too intense or something. And, like, I don't know, because he talked to her for 2 hours about the whole shooting and everything. And then he drank and crashed his car and hit 6 cars. And then when he bailed himself out of jail and killed himself.
God.
Jesus.
That's so crazy.
May his soul rest in peace.
Yeah, sorry. I feel like I'm coming in dark. Like I'm coming in.
I mean,
right.
with all this.
So his name was
dark
Brandon.
places to take the show. Yeah.
What?
Brandon was his name. Yeah.
That's just interesting. I just had my second son born around the same time. His name is now Brandon.
Aww.
Really?
Yeah, I just got back from Brandon Kai. I won't tell his whole name, but it's Brandon Kai.
I mean, it's one of those things where I think it's worth talking about at least a little bit, because people get in such intense, overwhelming circumstances. They don't know how things are going to change and how things are going to solve themselves. Some problems dissolve, others problems resolve. And we feel often
stuff like that would feel so heavy. Yeah, that would feel so heavy.
But there's work that can be done. There's light work, there's shadow work, there's things there's time you can spend. If you just take time, a lot of things will change and the world moves. Storms can be really heavy overhead and then they can pass by. So, you know, it's important to remember those things, and like to pray for some sort of resolution for all of us in those situations, and just know that, you know, nothing ends. Life doesn't end. Things move on, things change, things transmute. And so think that energy will still be there. Brandon's energy still be there. It's just going to be without those memories. And so it can reset. But that's that's what happens. People reset and energy goes. Yeah. I mean, did you see what I
saw your
saw
feed,
earlier
yeah.
today? Oh my God. I got to pull that back up because that was ridiculous. I was in the beach today and I found that they had this like tourist bar kind of place, and the bar is called Samsara.
Yeah.
And I was like, do they know? I mean, do they understand what they're doing? Of course they do. They're Slavs, bro.
Well,
like the Slavs are like,
even if they're
all this-
semi-conscious about it, you know, it's fine.
all this tropical paradise holiday vacation is nothing but suffering. And it's like, oh man, these people get me on like,
What does
such a
samsara
disgustingly
mean?
deep level. Well, samsara, what's the literal definition? Just like
Samsara
cycles?
means wheel. If I'm not mistaken, it means
cycles
wheel. But samsara
wandering.
is the cycle of reincarnation that we're all trapped.
It's the circle of life.
Yeah, I mean it's the circle of lives, you know, and so you go through one life to the next, and there's different levels, which is interesting because people will talk about heaven and hell, but a lot of these concepts, even heaven and hell, are like lifetimes. It might be 1,000 years or something, but hell is not any more permanent than life is. They're just cycles you go through. And the lowest is Naraka, and we're often in the Naraka samsara. I think a lot of the time we get this kind of Cenobite Hellraiser experience where existentialism is so rough that we want to escape it, but then have to remember that spirits can't eat and they can't have pleasure if they can't have suffering. So they're tied together in such a real way. And so we're constantly in this samsara. And all these people that are going to these beach parties and, you know, looking in these chairs and everything like that, that they can sit down, photo spot only. They're like trying to live their best life because they're young and beautiful and they have the money that they have right now. They spent all winter working for, but then they're going to go right back to, you know, whatever they've been doing. So they're worried about it and they're trying to live and be beautiful now because it could just go so quickly, and it often does, clearly.
And they got the pedophile symbol up there too.
No,
I mean, I think
God,
it's more
no.
of like a. I think it's more of a.
Not all not all spirals. You know, like.
Yeah, they can't have every spiral, but yeah, I hear you. But no, I think it's just you know, like they can't do the swastika because they'll get in trouble. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, C users terror risk. Chris, how are you? What have you been up to? Tell us about your life.
I've been preoccupied with car shopping because my Mustang got totaled in a hit and run incident.
Oh yeah.
And,
what?
Yeah, it took like a month of hunting the guy down through just a photograph of his license plate. So I had to like wait for the police report, found out his insurance, like made the claim.
Your car was parked?
No, I was pulling into a 7-Eleven parking lot, and this dude just came out of nowhere and slammed me on my right side. So the right side was fucked, and he just drove off.
Sake.
I got out of the car. He gets out of the car, and I was like, the first thing I did, I was like, I got a call. And then he gets in the car and he just zips off. And some lady comes up. She's like, "Yo, I took a picture of the guy's plate." So I had to like fucking. I had to do my own investigation.
That woman right there was an angel, by the way.
Yeah. So I got the money. It was almost like 13 grand. So I just got to like buy another car, and I'm either gonna get another Mustang or a BRZ/86/FRS. I don't know if I want a little rice rocket or if I want another V8, but I don't know.
It's total.
You should get a Lada or some sort of a. Get yourself a tank, something that you know you can slam on with a hammer and doesn't break.
Yeah, something that you won't crash and destroy.
Yeah.
But if someone crashes into you, it's fine.
But being without a car. But being without a car, I just had like mad fucking time on my hands because I wasn't going anywhere really. So I finally know how computers work. You know, like I finally get it. It's finally like.
I saw you messing around with Vim earlier, so you're doing something. Yeah.
I mean, that's just because like since I didn't have a car, I was like, yeah, my shit's running a little slow. I only had 16 gigs of RAM on my desktop, so I was like, I started upgrading shit, and I realized like this
more RAM.
This kind of scratches that itch of modding a car, but without
totally.
It's a lot cheaper. Yeah. So I just I got like upgraded RAM. I ordered like a new GPU. I fucking fully studied my motherboard, and that just led me down to like different rabbit holes. So
this is my motherboard. There are many like it, but this one is mine.
Yeah. Now I'm running I had like this old T430, and then I learned how to like swap everything out. So I run it with Arch Linux. I run NeoVim, and I started like customizing shit, and it taught me a lot. And now, like, I don't know, I'm just kind of like immersed in this shit, but I still got to get a car. So, you know,
Nerd.
Yeah. I've been pretty happy not having a car down here. Like I took a bus the other day. I walked like with Raf, we walked like 40 minutes to get to the bus station, and we were late and the bus was leaving. And I was like, oh my God, we're going to miss the bus. But then Raf just put his thumb out like a hitchhiker, and the bus, it's Yugoslavia. They stopped the bus. Yeah, this is fun.
over here, you have to pull out like a Glock, you know?
You have to fucking run like a motherfucker here.
And it was like 4 or 5, 7 euros or whatever to go. Like, and, you know, I don't know. I feel like taking buses in Slavic countries makes sense. I mean, generally, you're not going to have any trouble. And I'm seeing around me like all these people that have like BMWs, $100,000 cars.
Yo,
apparently, that's
I
the
have to
thing here,
interject
you know?
though, but like being without a car, I've also had to go back to like bike riding, you know, cycling, which has been
Yeah.
awesome, and public transportation. And like I look up and I notice just how miserable everyone looks. Like I was looking for one person on like every subway train who was smiling, and like unless it was
So you're
rush hour,
using
it was like
public transportation.
it was really hard. Like even on the bus, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna smile, and then people started like staring at me, like, nah, we don't do that. We don't do that on the bus.
Exactly, dog. Exactly.
It was so sick.
So I
Misery
went
loves
also to the
company, right?
Misery does. It's true. I was gonna say I went to the Bosnian pyramids recently. Speaking of, Julie was talking about electrons and ionization, and this is my buddy Eldar, who I'd met before in Visoko. He's this totally chill, cool bro. Can you guess what religion he is when you look at him? What would you think? Just guess.
Muslim.
Charlie Kirk.
Totally Muslim. You can tell. You know how you can tell? His knees are covered. That's like a thing, is that they aren't supposed to reveal their knees. But he's one of the chillest dudes you'll ever meet. Super rad. We hung out, and I had to wear pants to go to the mosque because we went and prayed in the mosque, which was really interesting to see how the mosque looks inside, and it was just a lot of fun. But he took us on a tour of the Bosnian pyramids, which I'd done before, but it was way more interesting than I had thought from last time. I mean, I already did a lot of stuff the last tour, but doing a one-on-one with him, we went through everything, went to all the different locations, not just the main pyramid of the sun, but the pyramid of the moon. Talked about when we've recorded all of it. So I'll put some videos up about that pretty soon. But we went and we stayed in the pyramid for like hours the next day just to feel, because everyone says it's like a healing thing. Like a lot of people are going there for ionization. Our buddy Martin Hip from Europa, he was there, and he was saying that, you know, he usually has like a cleft nostril and he can't breathe out of it ever. And as soon as he goes in there, all of a sudden it clears up, and we were feeling like pretty good, like generally feeling pretty good about it. But we found out, like, you know who goes to the Bosnian pyramids every time, like all the time? I'll give you a clue. Before his tennis games, who would you guess before their tennis games comes to the Bosnian pyramid every single time before their game?
John McEnroe should have.
That would probably have made it more peaceful.
He wouldn't have been as ragey.
It's Novak Djokovic. Novak Djokovic is the famous Serbian tennis player who refused to get the scandalous experimental medical treatment you might have heard about in 2019, 2020. You know, this guy. He's pretty based. Actually, Djokovic's pretty based, and he says a lot of stuff that gets him in trouble.
That was a sick watch. Go back.
That is a
look at
nice.
that
Slavic people are into like banana yellow neon colors and everything like that.
That's what Chris noticed the fucking watch on it.
I mean,
that's the thing that
it is eye catching
drip right there.
That's what gives away that he's a Slav, probably to some extent. Besides his enormous
face.
Yeah,
I mean, that face kind of gives it away.
But this article I found about it too, which was crazy, like the miraculous energy at this controversial site in Visoko, quote unquote, has attracted many believers, including the tennis great. And he comes to the pyramid literally to get his ions in check, allegedly, right before every game.
Got to get your ions checked, bro.
I saw this week
kind of
this
based.
guy was talking about the science of humming and how you can solve a lot of your problems with your face using humming. So like people who have like irritable mucous membranes, you can actually solve like allergy problems. Constant, like if you hum, apparently the frequency like unblock shit, and it's the same basis as like an or even like the frequencies you'll experience externally from a place like you're describing, you know?
I think I really do think like when you're an athlete or a performer at such a high level, you start getting really like spiritual or metaphysical, you know, like where you hear those like dudes talk like semen retention or getting their ions checked, or
it
like
goes either way. It goes either way. It's like there's different forces to tap into, and some people tap into, I guess, that they end off with some wisdom and they acquire some sort of spirituality, while other ones will go harder into like the pure individual,
the min-max game, the meta.
I am the best of the best kind of mentality of like powering through everything, you know? And it gets you so far, but it ends up being defeated.
The more
by the spirituals.
runners are like that, the more they run, the less they're thinking. Like you don't think when you're running. It's a perfect meditation and a lot of oxygen in your brain. Yeah, I've seen that a lot. Well, okay, so the point of this episode. So I got a text message. It was like, I prayed from a family member. I prayed for you at Mass. You can already tell they're Catholic. That you will learn humility and you'll seek your own part in relationships. I asked Jesus to be with you. I would like to know, what are you doing and how you are helping those around you? If you have time to share anything about that.
You received this, Andreas?
This is one of your family members?
Yeah, but clearly one who doesn't know me too well, let's say.
So
I posted it because I was like,
track their IP and find out where they live and tell them their address.
Right, for sure. But I don't know. I was like, this is a good question, and it's hard because, like, how do you answer that? Do you answer that because do you do things because you want rewards, or do you do this because
you always have
to do it?
You always have to compare virtue penises. If you don't compare virtue penises, what is the point of being virtuous? You know.
True. I guess that's kind of the question that we're going to ask today.
I think a new stylish game is being virtuous in spite of being a piece of shit. Like, yeah, everyone knows I'm an asshole, but, you know, when you do something good, it's like everyone notices it more. They acknowledge it more, you know?
Well, you know, like the thing is, a lot of the people who claim to be good, who think they're good, they have to pretend to be not have a bad side. So to integrate your shadow does mean to recognize, to know when to be an asshole versus when not to be an asshole, and find that balance, you know?
I feel like I'm kind of an asshole, like a lot of the time.
Well,
like
it's relative. It's relative. The thing about being an asshole is that people always tell you, oh, you're an asshole when you tell them things that they don't want to hear, even if it's true, so it's like, am I really being an asshole, or are you being a fucking pussy? You know, like where's the
there's this philanthropist that he's like, you know, everybody says he's a billionaire, he's a philanthropist, and he's like, everybody thinks I'm like so amazing and I'm the most selfless person ever. He's like, he's like, I help other people because of the way it makes me feel. Like, I'm super selfish. I love what it's doing for me and how I feel, but everybody thinks it's totally opposite.
Altruism is a lie. Yes.
You know, I
wonder,
think personally that only that good people, or generally good people, or more good people, even worry about whether it's selfish to be good and stuff like that. Like, if somebody's an asshole, like a true asshole, it's not even going to come into their rationale whether or not, like, oh, am I being like selfless, like because it's for me or for them, or it would be outside of the rationale. Personally, that's what I think. So I think that you're probably
higher levels
on a pretty good track if you even are concerned whether you're doing it selflessly or not.
Well, then maybe I'm
that's
okay,
what I think.
that was my main thing I was looking into. I was like, do I feel like I'm being helpful? Do I feel like anything I'm doing actually helps anybody? You know, I get really nice comments from people all the time that say things on the internet about like how much just us talking to each other like we're doing now has somehow elevated their life or helped change their life.
Well, can I ask you a question?
Oh, certainly. And you probably sparked. Sorry, Chris, go ahead.
I was going to ask, how helpful would you ideally want to be? I mean, I say this, my policy
very
is like
helpful.
51% of your energy to others, 49% energy directed to your own self. And I think that's enough for like good things to happen, because that's all the universe really asks. Just that extra 1% to tilt the scale a little bit, then you're good. You know, like, what else do you need to do? Like,
I feel like the more you help people, the more restraint it can be on yourself. That's true. But also I feel like you need to take care of yourself to help other people. That's
some people have a greater threshold of energy.
The thing is,
It's a prerequisite that you have to be able to be somewhat self-sufficient in order to, because in order to be a net positive on the rest of people outside of you, you have to be taking care of yourself. So a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll focus on other people, but what they're actually doing is just not focusing on themselves. And in turn, it's not really tipping the scales very much. It's not a healthy way to be, in my experience, because you need to first, you need to have yourself unlock as much as possible, which of course that is kind of tricky because the world is very in flux, and you're never fully secure anyways, so that gets tricky as well.
So at your most fundamental level, how do you seek to be good to the point where you're inclined to be helpful? I think it's being grateful. If you're a grateful person at your deepest level, just grateful to be alive, then you're more geared. It's like building up off of a better positive foundation.
The thing is that you have to have gratitude, but action, right? Because you can't be grateful for your lack.
Yes, you can.
I mean, the thing is, if you're lacking, though, then you're actually lacking. I don't mean lacking what you think you need. I mean lacking what you actually need. If you're lacking, you're lacking. So
yeah,
you can be grateful if you want, but then you die of starvation.
But all that shit is still downstream from living in itself, right? You don't have to be alive. You just want to be. It's not a fundamental law.
That's where it comes in to count your blessings.
I think it's about how you contextualize your gratitude and how you contextualize your blessings. So, let's say you're grateful for the capacity to eat food as opposed for the capacity to be starving. You have to be able to. It's the right gratitude as opposed to wrong gratitude, and that's wisdom, I think.
Yeah, but I think no matter what, but before all that, you still have to live to even experience lack or abundance. By contrast, so you don't have to be alive, yet you are. So fundamentally, it's still gratitude at the very bottom. It has to
agree. Be grateful. Just be wise about being grateful too.
Of course,
there's always if you want something to be grateful about. There's always something.
If you want to live,
we should do a show where it's people expressing the difference you've made in their life. That would be a great future show.
Sounds like a
unless you're having a really bad day, it's okay to not be grateful if it's one of your really bad miserable days. That happens. You know what I mean?
And then when you're having a bad day, you can watch that episode, Andreas, and be like, I feel better. I feel this is amazing.
Yeah, look at all those
people. But it feels vainglorious, and so that was the thing I felt kind of dumb about asking people. Because at first I was asking genuinely, but then I'm like, oh, I'm just fishing. You know what I mean? Am I just fishing?
What we should do is not get Andreas's consent, and then we all do it without his consent. And what do you think?
But it's not just about me. Okay, so that's the thing. I didn't bring it up just because I wanted to be like, I'm beautiful.
But it is though. Beautiful. It's okay. It's okay to be all about. It's okay.
It's okay.
I want to make this about all of us though, and so that's why I had some thoughts about how we ask, are we being helpful? First off, what do you think is helping? What is a way that we are helping, and what does it mean to help people? And then also, how are we harming? Is there a way that we're harming the world? Am I harming the world? I mean, are we?
Help, it's a double-edged sword, right? So you can think you're helping someone, but somewhere down the line you might be causing another problem. So but I think that's just life, right? No matter what you do, there's negative and positive. So if you have the intent at least to help people, you're doing a net positive for the world, and in the intent stacks with other people's intent, as opposed to not doing anything or to not giving a shit, at which point bad things happen anyways, and no one has any sort of psychic positive result of intent.
Well, how do you measure that?
I think the best way to help people is to not harm yourself, because chances are it's when you begin getting in your own way, that's when everything that you do with other people has this pretext of, well, I still need this. So it's going to be tainted. But if you help yourself, if you can truly be self-sustaining, whether it's emotionally, physically, or mentally, then you could approach people without that pretext, and you'll be here for them. It's dude, I'm fine. What can I do for you?
Yeah.
Whereas if you're constantly living in lack, it's I got too much shit on my mind. I got to do this. I got to do that. I need to get
sometimes
this. I need to
the most helpful thing you can do sometimes is nothing, or get out of the way kind of thing. And sometimes that's it, but I think a lot of times it's about synergizing. It's about the synchronicity that you can have with other people. And when you're in sync, like that's where you're really helpful. It's like everyone helping everyone kind of thing is where it really becomes a critical mass like solution engine, you know, like we can, instead of being one person trying to help everyone and then you realize, oh shit, I can only help 4 people or whatever, like you gotta, there's a way to organize and to synchronize, you know.
Sparrow
I
says,
I think that's what Andreas does. So I think Andreas is a synchronizer. I think he synchronizes people together and he brings them into a web.
Well, what you're really describing is something that actually exists, like as above, so below. So the truth is, if you do help one person, technically you are helping the collective. That's why they say,
I agree.
I'm saying there's those people that say, oh, when one person reaches a spiritual awakening, that's like critical. That's getting closer to critical mass.
But this is kind of like a butterfly effect claim, right? You're going like, if you help one person, and I agree, it does have that effect. It's a chain of events.
I think it's more of a quantum trigger.
You know, you remember that movie?
What's
like
the viewer saying
or whatever
on the bottom there?
Sorry, go on.
Are you gonna read that really? Yeah. Sparrow says, I think, and thank you, Sparrow, because like you're one of our favorite people, Mindy. I think each of you and each other in the Xirtus verse have helped me to look at just about everything in a new way, slaying paradigms.
Well, I can't take credit for that because I'm just stealing from like our ancient shamans and shit. I just looked.
I'm just channeling the Akashic records here, okay? I'm not
exactly like this is older. This is way older than any of us. Like I'm just kind of tapped in. I'm just tapping in.
Don't shoot the oracle. Yeah, for sure. But I mean,
it's always good to be relaying the messages of like the dopest things that you find. You know what I mean? Like because other people like they may not have come across that, and it's good to just spread the awareness of things that like that like sparks joy or that's amazing, and then you can pass it along to somebody else. And I think it's really cool. I love the internet because I like to think that with the internet, ever since its inception of like social media and stuff like that, like I try to on a regular basis just like kind of throw things out there to like remind people of things that they might not think about on a regular basis, like for example the Federal Reserve and stuff, like because one day that's going to hit critical mass and it's going to matter, you know what I mean? So that's what I have to say.
I want to ask whoever's watching this though, like whoever watches this, please think of like how Andreas has enriched your life and like comment below like what that meant to you. And
I think that's
totally.
Okay.
I think he'll be surprised how much.
Dude, just do it. Just do it, everyone. Just do it.
Andreas cured me of my gayness.
That's true. Although it made it worse because I look at his profile and like, look how great. Like, doesn't Vince look amazing from profile? He has a great nose, right? I was like my nose. I feel like he could be a statue, so that's pretty good.
Xirtus is conversion therapy.
I'm way too hairy to be a statue.
Well, you know where I stand with you guys. I'm just grateful for everyone in the chat. Grateful for everyone on the panel. Just grateful.
I'm grateful for Chris's gratitude.
I will be the
that shit makes me feel
Jesus
good.
Christ of gratitude. I will be.
I think there's like
I will be the Jesus Christ. How humble of him.
You could
There's
crucify
also
me.
The most
if you
humble.
crucify that guy, you better put me up next. I think that a lot of people.
I'm on the top of the humble list.
A lot of the people that I've interacted with in my life, I've interacted with so many people, and so working for CNN or Timcast or whatever, there's been situations, even just making memes without my name on them, that I've gotten like millions of views or hundreds of thousands of views or something like that. I feel better about these small, like even though this is like only 100 or 1,000 people might see one of these videos, like 1,000 people is a lot of people, and it's not just a lot of people, it's each person is a lot of person. And it's like that the finale of Quantum Leap, like with the bartender who's God, like the lives you've touched have touched others. The more people that we interact with here are interacting with each other.
Well, it's a fractal,
That's
right?
pretty good.
Thundercats.
It's like helping people ends off as a fractal ripple. Like you help an individual, they're inspired by you to help other people. They might help 4 people.
Right.
Those people help 4 people, and so on and so forth.
Totally.
And
Yes.
that's like the pay.
I'm a huge believer. I'm a huge believer in, like, while I'm on the road and I'm driving in a truck, like I was talking to Chris one time, that one of the things I like to try and make sure that I do is that every interaction I have with somebody while I'm like going into the truck stop or something like that, if I can make them smile, I will. Like, I will go out of my, because like I think that like the butterfly flaps its wings kind of thing, like it leads to somebody having a better day, leading to somebody else having a better day, and it ripples out. So I always try and be aware of that on some level, like even if I can't really do big things, like maybe just the little things are making a huge difference. And I like to imagine, it makes me feel good that like maybe I'm making a massive difference. Maybe I'm changing the world today, even though it feels small.
Like maybe
just
you
makes me feel good.
You just stopped like a Hitler from having that overturn.
Right, 30 years from now, because something I said to this lady.
Yeah. So she didn't go home and yell at her son and make the next Hitler, you know? Like,
I'm like, I don't know. I feel like disappointed because I'm always of the effect I do make. I like, there's times where it's like I preach all this parasite cleansing stuff, and I thought about it, like how many people are in my inner circle or people that I love and care about, how many of them have done it?
Doesn't
like
matter.
no one wants to do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what difference am I making if nobody's if nobody's like applying that?
Think of it like a tree. Okay, you planted a seed; it'll take 20 years. It's okay. It takes the time that it takes.
A willow tree.
You don't get mad at a tree for growing at the speed it does. So
but the inverse also happens too. Like any small.
I'm sure by now that your family and friends.
Every small little negative thing you do,
none of them
have it.
Like a huge
Well, I'm just saying, like they must have it like
right?
in their consciousness. Like one day it may like spark into like, oh, like maybe I'll try that in the back of their head, you know, because like they know that you're all about it.
Yeah,
And they'll be like,
takes a while to grow.
What was that chick was talking about like 5 years ago? Oh, that sounds cool. You know.
What did Chris? Hold on, guys. Hold on. What was Chris trying to say? Because Chris got overtalked.
No, Vince was saying that it was like a seed, you know, one little good act eventually blossoms like ripples.
Yeah.
And I think the inverse is also true, where one little like negative act can probably fuck someone up really bad down the chain.
It's all about the plant.
Yeah,
it's
but
all
let's
about
say
what
you
plant,
create,
you know.
Let's say you created a Hitler instead of you destroyed one. Doesn't that lead to everyone defeating a Hitler? So maybe you like helped create a triumph that takes even 100 years instead of 20 years, or I mean, there's a number of ways.
Maybe Hitlers can't be avoided, you know. So you better start making heroes.
Negatives can become positives, and you don't even see how.
There's definitely a fanaticism, though, right? And you see people that the Xirtusphere, you called it, or Xirtusverse, that people are impacted greatly. I see that a lot. Like people that aren't just listening to 20 minutes and then they're done. It's like a huge part of their lives, and then they're affecting all of their family because it completely changes.
Did you hear about Tartaria?
There. Yeah, like, you know, I have from other people. I was talking to some Turks the other day that were construction workers in this small town. They knew everything about Tartaria. They were so excited that they're like,
yo, just from being associated with you, I was like force fed all this information about Tartaria. I feel like I know it like the back of my hand.
Yeah, and it's affecting like global politics in Ukraine and Turkey. Like, it's pretty interesting that could happen. And then, yeah, like you said, it affects their family. Like if you are somebody who thinks you have no reach because you don't have like 1,000 subscribers, you're not even 100,000. You have like less than 1,000. Maybe you have 100 people that see your posts. Sometimes 2 or 3 of your friends. At least 2 or 3 of your friends know what you're all about. At least your family knows what you're about, and that makes a bigger difference, because then your mom's shopping at the store and she's thinking about how her son or daughter is obsessed with Tartaria. Or
also, I want to say 10 true followers /fans /subscribers is way more valuable than 10,000 fake ones. Honestly, that's what I think.
Well, if you talk to most people and you ask them, like, what did you, like this person in your life, what did you learn from them? What did you learn from this person, that person? And they could probably choose, I don't know, less than a dozen, 5 things. With Andreas, you're constantly learning and it's enriching your life. And that's why, like, I always want more people to be exposed to Andreas.
And you guys bring up stuff that I don't hear anybody else talk about. Like, I can listen to like all of the podcasts and everything. They're all in the same trip. Like, they're all in the same hive mind to a certain extent. But then I'll come back and I'll watch some Xirtus like a month later or something like that, and I'll be like, oh, this is like what my life is missing, because they're talking about all of this other stuff that nobody's even considering, and it's really cool. And I want to let you know, you should know this, is that back in the day, so I was looking up Tartaria Tartaria, and that's how I even came across Xirtus, your channel, is because actually out of all of the Tartaria stuff that I found in that month or whatever, one of the presentations that you did on it with your nice, sexy, like calm voice and stuff, it was my favorite video on Tartaria out of anything I could find, and that was back when it was blowing up. And so like I hit subscribe, and then it was like you guys are talking like all of these podcasts and stuff, and I was like, no, like Xirtus, get back to doing the presentations. You make the best presentations ever. And ironically, like I'm here doing this show sometimes, and but at first I was super annoyed because I wanted to see his
I
presentation.
don't blame you. I
so
hear
bad.
that a lot. I hear that I should be doing more
Lucky
presentations.
typing.
I'm thinking
You're
about
good
it. I'm
at
thinking
it.
about how
Like
I
you're
think about
really
it.
good at it.
Yeah, really good at it.
I think
It's
one
just
thing
hard
that
to
keeps
do presentations because you see how videos turn over so fast because people
Yeah.
are making so much of the myopic gossip simping that most
Yours are
podcasts
timeless, though. People
That's
come
the
back
thing.
and watch them.
It's true. I can go at any point and be like, "Oh, this video about Shrek being satanic." I can watch that, and it's still relevant today. You know, like it's great.
I still go back and watch your Tartaria video, like maybe once every 4 months, 6 months, or something, just to like fall asleep to because it's so good.
Whoa.
That's it. You
Pretty
should make.
nice.
You should make sleep. You should make sleep like sleeping videos of your. With
I think it
using your-
has like a million. I think it has like a million views. It's crazy.
You know, one
Sounded
thing I
pretty
will
good.
say kept me coming back to APM for so long is that Andreas is sort of like he'll discuss any topic at any level. He's willing to go at any frequency. He will talk about the most down to earth, like mathematical, conservative, like limited thing, as well as like the most out there wild theories and discussion. So we'll be able to talk about like, you know, oh, well, reality is made of like sound and like there's reptiles in charge or whatever. But also, you know, like what about the economy today? And like, you know, did you hear about this nice little band? And like, there's just
you bring things up that I actually get frustrated. I'll watch Xirtus after like a month or something, and you'll bring things up, or like you're a different panelist will bring things up that I'll get like frustrated. I'm like how are they so smart? Like how am I not considering these things? I've never even thought of this thing ever in my life, and I feel like somebody that thinks a lot. And it's really good. I love this channel, dude. It has a lot of value to me. So.
I appreciate that. I also know like Chris does a lot. Like the fact that there are kids that are being raised right now that know how to defend themselves or know how to focus and meditate, how to use swords, and you know, not just to murder each other, but for like a sake of honor. Like I think that's pretty much something.
And
that's, you know,
and to still be badass, you know, like he's got all this stuff, but also he's gonna be like he's like a bad boy thing going too, you know. So he's like
Oh,
that
that's
nice
not
balance.
true. What do you do?
What?
Is
No.
this?
You make honor look
Yeah,
good.
you like it.
What?
You were literally saying be an asshole earlier to be good, you know.
No, I was just
he has that bad boy
identifying.
thing going.
I was just identifying with everyone. I really do. I just at some point recently, I just completely depersonalized, and I'm like, I think we're all just different versions of each other, bro. Like, I really think everyone's just the same soul living out different lives and different, and it's changed everything. Like, it's changed my entire outlook.
When you say mean things to others, you're actually saying it to yourself, so that you can improve, basically.
Pretty much, I guess. I mean, I don't think I say mean things to people directly. I just like kind of think out loud, which could come off as mean. But when I'm in like conversations, I never really bully people. I don't like that. I don't like the pecking order shit. I don't like a lot of social groups where they have to like tease each other to feel kind of secure in some way. Like I really steer from that kind of scene, you know? I'm not like, it's not for me. I know it makes some people feel comfortable.
Julia, your parasite cleanse. I know Brittany got all the stuff for it. I know Raph is probably down to do parasite cleanses. I know that everyone that thinks about it after you talk about it, whether they're ready to do the work, at least they know that they're mind controlled or gut mind controlled, which is a huge break for a lot of people to be less reactionary, to start questioning who's sending those impulses into their spirit that they're making decisions around. I mean, do you want this, or is this something in you that's part of you because it's attached to you that makes you want this? That's really a important step, I think, for any direction. I mean, like a spiritual, physical person.
I think there's clever little.
I'm just
like,
doing
hacks.
this to bother my wife because my gallon of water is driving her crazy. So.
Yeah, I think there's like these word hacks that you could use to kind of make it easier, like to kind of hack your way. I think it's like when you say, "Oh, our emotions are just visitors passing through us." You know, just like little mini angry, sad, happy yous. And it's like you can't hold on to any one of them. They're just visitors, honored guests. Let them come, let them do what they do, and let them just wash out. And that's what kind of what you were saying, I think, right? Like that's what that's why
true.
we do. Like a lot of times, are we just reacting to our emotions, like our emotional
So
stimulus?
much. It leads people to live and die. It leads people to hurt each other. It leads people to fight on levels that don't make sense. And you know, if you just take like 30 seconds to read Aesop's fables, you'll probably like relax a bit. You know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I've never seen this Jordan dude. What are you about, man? What's your deal? What's up, Jordan?
I've seen Jordan help people, by the way. Jordan helped his family, and Jordan does. Okay, I'll let you talk for yourself. But like I mean, he actually like goes out of his way to like help with like all sorts of starving artists in Canada that are trying to be comedians and art. You know, you do a lot, bro. But,
wait, guys, I have to run, but thank you for having me. And Andreas, you changed my life, and I love you. And everybody, glaze up Andreas in the comments. Glaze him of what. Be specific of like what kind of difference he made and how. And I can't wait. I'm coming back and reading these. And I think we should do a future show. Yeah. And dude, yeah, please. Somebody at this point, I'm like, dude, it'll be shocked if anybody does it.
Parasites.
I'm like, I'll be excited if people send me just pictures of their fecal to show me, like, look, I'm doing it. So disgusting, but like, how that would make my day. Like, yes,
Julia, we will.
Oh no, you're gonna be surprised at how many people start to take you up on that. Be careful.
I know.
Never open that door. What are you doing?
Dude, this guy, there's a funny reel I sent to my friend yesterday. Maybe you guys have seen it, where he's talking about like the best prank ever. He's like, yeah, well, a buddy of mine, he was at a construction site in a porta potty. He's like, he wrote on a Sharpie, send me pictures of your poop. Send me pictures of your poop, and then put his phone number, his buddy's phone number. He goes,
oh my God.
He's like, it's flawless because he's like, it's a construction site. I don't know which porta potty. I can't take it down. He goes, for 2 solid years, he's getting the craziest messages, and he says it's absolutely horrible. But he's like, touche, ultimate prank if you really want to just mess with your buddy of how gnarly that is. But yeah, so I feel like him.
Oh, yeah. If you break up with somebody,
he goes, it's a construction site. These guys are hardy guys. Like, there's not that much fiber in their diets. And I'm like, oh. But yeah, parasite, like those kind of pictures that remind me of that.
Those guys have lots of parasites. You know.
Oh, God, yeah.
Julia, we should definitely.
We should call you Parasite Eve.
Do the parasite cleanse.
All right. Well, I love you guys. I'll see you later.
Take care. By the way, so if you want to connect with me, that'd be cool.
Well, okay. So this wasn't. I know you guys think it was just supposed to be about me, but like, yeah, let's start with Jordan more. Like, what do you? How do you define your life, and what do you do, bro?
What do you do?
I know he takes care of like Sam Newsman. He just like helps people like realize. He called. I mean, Jordan's on the show. Let me just. I just want to say, like, Jordan's on the show mainly because he called me up to say, like, how can I help you? Like, he was literally like, hey, man, I just want to see what I can do to like help you more. That's straight up how that conversation goes.
That's true. That's true. I mean, I do feel like I'm someone who does like to help people generally. I mean, just since we're shouting out Xirtus, I'll just say like he's helped me. I mean, during the pandemic, I mean, that hit me so freaking hard mentally and in a lot of different ways. And he not only watching his content, but just he was someone that kept in touch with me. And it took some time, but we both were going through different rough patches, and then we both kind of came out on the brighter end of things. So I mean, he's definitely helped me in social and mental ways, I'd say, on top of making awesome content and bringing great people together. But I mean, so yeah, shout out to you, my friend. But yeah, I mean, if we're gonna talk about me, I mean, I feel like, I mean, I have a bunch of family members that are getting old and sick, and I feel like I've been put in the position where, I mean, gladly, where I have to help them. So that's a big thing. I'm also a big believer in what you guys were talking about of, you know, Vincent was saying it's all about what you plant, right? So I do try to plant the nicer and the kinder seeds whenever I possibly can. Yeah, I mean, overall, I'd say I'm a very kind, generous guy. I mean, if we're going to get into tipping, that's a little different story. I have some thoughts about tipping that people might think I'm an asshole about, but I mean, I don't know. I think that I think we're all talking about good stuff, and so that's kind of me.
I have
in a
this
bit of
theory that you could tip a lot of people in a lot of different ways though too. I mean, mainly what I've seen is that Jordan like helps people do all sorts of arts as well. Like there's comedians and there's like I've seen pictures of you at like events and things like that. And it's always like you're working in an event and like helping people come together. And it's not just helping the artist, like the Canadian comedian, where there's this tiny economy in Canada that doesn't really reward artists the way you might think it does. But it's also the people that go to these things that are connecting with each other. And it's a huge thing what you do for a lot of people. It seems like so simple on some weird level, but it really is a lot to be able to do something like that for people, which is pretty based, you know.
You need the people to do the stuff to happen, right? So, I mean, so shout out to us all.
Stuff leads to things. Things lead to more things and more stuff. Ultimately.
Okay.
Exactly.
So all right. So I chat GPT like personal angle. Let's see what AI says. These are the questions that it came up with. How do you measure whether you're helping or harming? Does the intention to help matter more than the outcome, or less? I would say. Have you ever thought you were helping but later realized you were making things worse? And do we actually help people, or do you just help yourself feel useful?
It's hard.
Answer any one of these questions that you feel like.
You know, I have a lot of friends that are lifelong alcoholics, you know, who have been drinking since they're 12, 13, and they can't get out of the loop. And there's nothing I can really do to help them. Like the only thing that I can really do to help them is tell them, like, once you want help, like, I'm here, you know, like if you ever want the help, if you're ever feeling at your lowest, like, just give me a call. Well, and I can't do much more than that. People, the type of help that they need is the type of help that they require from within first and foremost. And
yeah, so, it's a very internal process.
I have another perspective on what you're talking about, which is I could remember a point in my life where my intentions were definitely not like good, especially for other people, because I was stuck in survival mode. You know, like shit was like so lacking, like scarce for me when I was when I was a teenager coming out of the system. And I could tell you, like, my intentions weren't good, but I could justify it to myself because, like, well, I don't have it. You know, I'm working with shit. Like, I have nothing. So, you know, that's like, I think one way where it's like what switched it was switching from survival mode to thriving mode. It's like, I don't want to survive anymore. I want to thrive. Right. And how do I thrive in a world where I'm just like out for myself, where I'm out, you know, just to survive? Like, that's no way to live. You can't you can't thrive like that. You can't be happy like that. So like, I started looking to gratitude and like higher powers and maybe metaphysical selves. And I'm not trying to use it as a means of coping because like, as you can see, I want to like integrate with the world better, you know be better for the world.
There's that old adage of like great power and great responsibility. So the more power you have, the more obligation you have to do good for others around you, you know, and if you don't have any power, what can you really do for others then? Well, the only power anyone actually has outside of any societal stuff is, I guess, the capacity to love, the capacity to have compassion, to listen, to communicate, you know, like at the very least. And so, yeah, when you're in that scarcity and when you're in that culture that comes with scarcity, you know, like the culture of, okay, well, you're hungry and, you know, you got to be a lion who eats and everyone else until you're fed is fodder, you know, like there's that mindset that comes, you can see it in hip hop culture. Like it just get your cash. You know?
What a reference. I was thinking that too, but I didn't want to say it, you know,
but you know, like, but it's part of a lot of different cultures. It's also in metal. It's part of youth culture, that frustrated, oh, you're young, you have so much potential, but you don't have any actual power. And, you know, I realized that there's a scaling to this and you can help everyone at different scales. You know, like I can't help my alcoholic friends, but maybe I can contribute to I guess informing people or changing the norms of our culture that make alcoholism so rampant. You know, like I can't fix them, but I can maybe help a generation or two from now by popularizing marijuana instead, or mushrooms, or like just altering the playpen of consciousness.
Yeah,
that we're
you're
all
always
allowed to be
you always
in,
talk a bunch of shit when I'm drinking. You're always like, "Oh, be careful with that alcohol stuff, Chris. Watch yourself when you drink, man." I'm like, "Okay, Vincent."
It's because I no, but like I come from a parent from an alcoholic father. I have friends who died from alcoholism. I've seen how much it can entwine in your neurology, and it can be a real problem. And
yeah, I know. Trust
and
me,
so
brother.
I know you're a wise consumer. Like
No. I'm saying
I don't have any
I don't want to
disrespect for it.
downplay what you're saying though. Like it's so bad where it's like AA literally says only God can save you.
Pretty much a higher power. And
Yeah.
and the thing is that the reason that they say that is because the source of the problem for a lot of alcoholism is lack of meaning. They don't have a meaningful anchor to hold onto so that they can make reality tolerable, basically. And God is, I guess, a very powerful anchor in that regard.
Well, they also feel powerless.
That's the thing.
And so something outside of them, like God.
Alcohol makes you feel powerful when you consume it because it's better for socializing. It makes you more confident. They literally call it liquid courage. But you realize after years of consuming it, oh shit, like it's not actually concrete. It's not actually something that
especially when you try to stop drinking for the first time, then you really feel very powerless because it's like you've gotten so much out of it. It's like so powerful in making you feel good and feel confident and everything like that you feel like zero when with drugs as well. I think alcohol and drugs are pretty much the same when it comes to that. When people are using them for social crutches, especially.
Right, but not just social crutches. It's also neurological crutches. So alcohol becomes a pillar for people neurologically. They go, oh, I had a bad day, therefore I'm going to drink. And that's to compensate for the negative neurochemical sensation that they're experiencing. And so that becomes more and more dependent. That's what dependency becomes. It's about compensation.
What if you only drink if you've had a good day? Like, I'm going to celebrate a good day.
That becomes a crutch as well because it becomes anchored to your other neurological pathways. So you're intertwining neurological pathways. So like, let's say after sex, you always have a cigarette. Okay, will sex be worse without the cigarette? Maybe.
Yeah, rather than
you become
or the morning coffee.
Rather than saying, but see, like what you're saying is you're going to reward yourself, and so what you're doing is you're attaching something good to something that's bad. And the better way I think to do that would be to reward yourself by doing something really good for yourself. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but what you're doing is you're attaching a good behavior to a good outcome to a good behavior.
I think it's a lot healthier though to reward yourself with alcohol rather than doing it to like bring yourself up. I think it's healthier that way, but it still is like creating a negative attachment to like that you need to celebrate that way or whatever. Right.
It doesn't seem like intuitive, but if you reward yourself by doing push-ups, or you reward yourself by doing homework, or you reward yourself by reading a book, it's not something that feels like a reward, but it might eventually, because what you're doing is you're associating that positive behavior with reward. And so eventually you look at it like you're replacing the negative material action of poisoning yourself, which is, why do you do that? Probably because you had a good time at one point young, and it was associated with a bad behavior or a bad, something that was technically, technically harmful to you.
What I like to do,
you can associate that with something better.
What I like to do is combine my waste of time with something useful. So like something that doesn't produce anything of value beyond neurochemical bliss or euphoria or whatever. Like let's say if I'm playing video games, for example, I don't actually gain anything from playing video games other than the good feeling, maybe some lessons in the memes in there. But generally gaming is neurochemical farming. You're just there to have fun and it's fine, but you can make it more useful. And you can say between rounds of something, do a bunch of push-ups, and that'll compensate for the deficit of the dopamine reward not having any physical actual benefits. Like, let's say,
I have a much simpler
hold on one
system, by
second,
the
one
way.
second. Like, let's say you're playing a Call of Duty, like over and over, or a fighting game or whatever, and you keep winning, and you just keep building up the dopamine and going, oh, and then eventually it just stops feeling good because you've just done it so much. But let's say you keep losing, well, you're digging a deficit. You're going, oh, I'm not getting dopamine reward because I keep losing. So you keep feeling worse and worse, and then you can actually start getting the beginnings of depression if you keep doing this every single day. And so if you have this sort of streak of gaming that is very difficult, like even a game like Dark Souls, like the game is designed to lose, you know, like you're supposed to die over and over until you get better. And then the dopamine reward later is super high when you actually do beat the boss, you know. But along the way, what you can do is for each death, for example, do 10, 20 push-ups. Okay, by the end, you'll have done 300 push-ups, but you'll get the real world benefits, and the dopamine reward system will actually reward you. It'll go, you did push-ups. Here's a good feeling, you know?
And you might end up getting
push-ups.
dopamine next time you do push-ups. If you do push-ups again, now that you've associated it, you've
Keep doing
basically
it over and
mind
over.
programmed yourself
Arnold
into
said
feeling dopamine from push-ups.
Arnold
like you're
said
winning
that
a game.
Arnold said that the pump you feel from working out feels like coming inside a woman. So I'm like, okay, I've never reached that, but like, hey, I'm sure the dopamine level and the endorphins and everything can just make you feel that euphoric bliss for that moment if you push hard up. In the same way meditation does, because it's all about focus, right? Like working out in that 20 push-ups, you're not paying attention to much anything else because you're trying not to hurt yourself, basically.
Well, my dopamine hack is actually a really simple system, and I stumbled upon it by accident.
Is it good?
Someone suggested bullet journaling. So I got into bullet journaling, and now it's like I didn't realize what it was doing. I just thought, oh, this is a useful tool so I could get my shit done and remember to get it done. And then once I kept doing it, I realized like, yo, this is a serious hack. Like just that feeling of Xing out a completed task. I'm like, that feels good. And then every day it's like you see it accumulate and you plan ahead, and then you suddenly start creating your own time, you know.
Well,
and
it's part of manifestation, right? Like part of manifestation, it's like you write everything down and then you say it, and then you say it out loud, and then you keep on bringing it into reality. And that journaling is like the first step in convincing your brain this is real.
I've talked about journaling before, and I still fucking do that shit. It's so useful. It definitely it's good for my mind, honestly.
I'd love to see.
Really
do you have like a Barbie diary with like a bunch of like pink diamonds?
No. In fact, I pimped this shit out. I use the best notebooks you could possibly use because like I've gone through so many. I use like these. I use Leuchtturm 1918s. No, Moleskine
Like
suck.
Moleskine.
Fuck that. I'm over Moleskine. Yeah, they do. That's like some noob shit. You got to go to this like German brand called like Leuchtturm, whatever, and you got to get the dotted notebooks. Because if you get the dotted notebooks, you could like modulate them and use them as like an analog file system, basically. That's what I do with like commonplace notebooks and shit. It started as a hobby, and then I realized I was getting serious shit done.
I wonder what like before written language, like people did similar stuff. Like,
yo,
I wonder what the equivalent does.
Even in the CIA, like some guy was talking about like this domino strategy where you carry dominoes with you, and then you attribute each task you have to do as a domino because there's an order in which you have to get shit done for it to be optimally collapsing, so that you don't have to for minimal effort. And if you get shit done in the right way, you set up the dominoes correctly and you just let it all fall, then that's how you get shit done efficiently. I learned a lot from like CIA tactics and shit.
Being able to express yourself is really huge. I mean, if you can express yourself on paper, then you don't have to dump it on other people, which is a huge thing. And when you do communicate with people, you have way more self-awareness because it's like looking at your own face in a mirror, but you're looking at yourself in time and how things change.
That's kind of important. That's kind of what like websites ended up doing, right? Like journaling, except you have a medium. So we're using Facebook as personal journals, and we're all just mirrors to each other in our journaling. We're going like, okay, well, you're catalysts in our thoughts.
Well, when you journal, why are you lying? Like, there's no point in lying to yourself when you journal, right? Sorry, Andres, what were you saying?
Oh yeah, people lie to themselves all the time, though, even if there's no point. So.
Well, you see it eventually. That was my next thought because, I was thinking of like Q posts and how people say this crazy thing is going to happen. Like Q's going to do this. Trump's going to do that. It's going to happen. And it's really cool because what you'd say to that person is like, okay, cool. I'll talk to you in a week. And in a week you ask them like, did that happen? And like, obviously it didn't, or like, well, no, this is what's going to happen next week. Does that happen? Like, is there war in China? War in Taiwan? Is there, You know, is the war over? Did they nuke this country? No, not yet. Okay, well, next week, what's going to happen? And eventually you just get this track record. So, I mean, you know what's going to happen based on what's happened, you know, because people don't change, things don't change unless they really put a lot of effort into changing and self-reflection to what they're doing so they know how to change. So if you log promises or you log commitments, you know, does it make you more reliable and therefore more helpful? Probably, right?
As long as you
Back to the
follow
help.
with action.
Am I being helpful?
That's what
You know,
we're
super-
doing, you know?
Yeah,
Andreas,
Because you
I'm
can
gonna
watch this
start-
in 5 years and you can wonder about how helpful we are. And
Andreas, I'm
Well,
gonna-
I learned bullet journaling from watching this shit, so yeah, it should help
Yeah,
me
right?
I'm gonna start calling you. I'm gonna start calling you Mormon Superman, Andreas.
You said something good I liked the other day. I forgot what it was, but it was like hiding behind the Mormon, like psychedelic shaman hiding behind the Mormon facade or something.
That's it. The two sides of him, the shaman and the Mormon facade, where he's like he has that secret wizard aspect, and then the other side that is like I'm gonna wear the tie and I'm gonna fucking I'm just
You
some
see
guy.
right through
The
it.
little name
Have
tag,
you seen this book?
Elder Andreas.
Mormon
You
Superman.
revealed my end goal. All right, Twilight
yo-
Mist said positive. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I just want to read it really quickly. Positive
for it.
anchor points in the physical world. That's a key for sure. Most people don't know how to anchor positively in relationships or in habits, and I agree with that. That's a good point.
How did you know that they were saying world?
Well,
It was spelled out like world.
Phonically,
World.
you can just the phonics of it.
Yeah.
World.
Sorry, Chris, what you were about to say?
I almost forgot, but I was going to say if we were all like
Oh, God,
RPG
yeah.
characters, right? And you had like
We
a
are.
magic stat. I aspired.
We
I
are.
like the well-rounded stat charts. I don't really like it when it's spiked and specialized too much, but sometimes when I get bored, I want to specialize. And I don't know. Would you guys like be more specializing in like a certain attribute, or would you want to be more rounded,
You ever notice
especially in
that,
regards to your magical ability?
you ever notice that health bars and mana bars are shaped like balls?
I did a chat GPT. I feel like this should be the new big thing, actually. It's like I asked chat GPT to make me into a magic card, and I definitely ended up like a little OP, I'm pretty sure. I'm trying to find the card right now because I started out by making seeing if you could make Top Cat into a magic card. Let me see if I can open this image in another tab here. It's slowly loading. It's the cool thing about Montenegrin internet. It's like a burlesque show.
Oh my god!
But ChatGPT literally made this without
Seeker
much
of
prompt.
patterns.
I just said, if I were to be a magic card, what would I be? Like, could you make me into a magic card? And I didn't give it like. I know, yeah, it thinks I look like Zelensky. I've noticed that. It's not my fault. I'm Slavic, but yeah, no, I mean, it also thinks that I'm like 57 or something like that.
You haven't seen
like
the patterns I've seen.
That's kind of how I feel sometimes on the inside. ChatGPT gets me on a disgusting level. I want to be young and beautiful, but what are you gonna do?
Now I want to see one of Chris.
It's
Chill.
yeah, we really. I mean, the thing is, I didn't give it a photo to work with either. Like this just knows kind of what I look like, which is kind of crazy. But Andreas, Seeker of Patterns, legendary creature, the human shaman. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, exile the top card of your library. You may play it until the end of turn. Whenever a permanent enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, if it shares a name with another permanent they control, create a treasure token. Which is, I mean, accurate. I don't know if you guys play Magic, but it's like that's kind of true. I mean, yeah. All right. Well, you'll all.
I love
learn.
it though, man.
That's
I love it.
Dude. And then the Top Cat one was pretty cool too, basically. But this is like what people should do, actually. You should go to ChatGPT and ask it to make you into a Magic card. Because I feel like this is way better than the anime photos that people are pushing around.
How crazy was your prompt? Was it pretty simple?
It was literally just like, if I were a Magic card, what would my stats be? Could you make me into a Magic card? Something like that. What I say? It was where's my question here?
Does it have like memory from your past conversations, or was it just making up on the fly?
Yeah. ChatGPT has memory from my past conversations, and it has access to all the YouTube videos clearly. And yeah.
Which conversations? Like your conversations with ChatGPT or like your phone conversations?
Yeah, for sure. Mostly, yeah, right, for sure. Mostly just with ChatGPT, but also our conversations. I'm pretty convinced it has transcripts of a lot of the episodes, and it does stuff with that.
I wonder if it could
So,
make me into a card on your chat
I mean,
GPT,
probably
Yeah,
if
of
it
it
would,
course. It can make anyone a card.
or if it would know me
but
as
no,
Jack
like based
McLeod
on
or
the information.
McLeod.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, you have to feed it. You have to
yeah.
feed it information, data. That's
And
what I think.
we probably
I
fed it enough for that.
That's why I love fucking trading card games. It's basically like programming. I mean, the more complex trading card games, you're basically setting up an imaginary infrastructure, like a field card or something that gives you like a boost, and then you put down your other programs or your daemons. That's an additional boost, and you're trying to get to the opponent's source code, which is their life points or their whatever, their tokens. And I think it's really neat. Chess kind of works like that too. You know, setting up infrastructure and everything and parameters. I think it's neat. So yeah, I think anyone could become a trading card.
I really like chess. I want to get really good at chess. I was thinking
That was the most
gambling
Asian you've
is-
ever sounded.
I'm
Pretty
sorry.
much.
I'm just noticing
No, but
patterns
I-
here. Like, you know.
I agree. I mean, because it's
Being Asian over here.
poker is such a game of chance, but chess is a intellectual sport, and so you know the moves you make based on what other people's moves. So it's related, I think, to sword fighting or soccer or anything else like that, because your moves are based on your plays are based on other people's plays. So I think it's really a valuable thing, also probably to know what.
I wonder who's the best
what are
chess
the
player in the
options when
whole
somebody's doing-
Xirtus.
What?
In the whole
Yeah,
Xirtus.
you know what? How about this?
I wonder
How
who's
about-
the
We
best
should
chess
probably
player.
start doing chess.
How about
games.
this? How about the
everyone.
Xirtus trading card game? All right, everyone who's ever been on Xirtus gets their own trading card, and you could collect them, and you could do fucking battle with them, and you could trade them and sell them for more
This
money.
is a good
Scalp
idea.
them.
Thank you for
Yeah,
the idea.
yeah.
You get at least 10% of that.
Thank
well,
you.
okay, so
Scalp
wait.
them.
Saint Augustine said, "Right is right, even if no one is doing it. Wrong is wrong, even if everyone is doing it." And I think the other quote I was looking for is, "We do, what is it? We do what we must, not. We do what is right. Well, okay, we do what is right, not for reward, but because it's right to do it." Right? I think that's the one. We do what is right, not for reward, but because it's right to do it. So the question also is, if you help someone because it makes you feel good, is that selfish? I mean, and does that make it invalid in some way? Does it make it invalid in any way that it makes you feel good to help other people? Does that take away from
No,
it?
I think we're naturally predisposed to feel good when we help people. I think that it's built in literally by God,
Well,
so that we have an
yeah.
easier time helping each other. Personally,
You know, but like it's like, what is the right feeling if not that? You know, like what are we supposed to feel? Nothing? Supposed to feel bad? Like I don't know. I don't know what they want from us. The only answer is that it feels good because our brains are wired that way. So just do good, but don't do it for the feeling. Do it for the action. We know,
but even
we
if
know
you do
logically.
even
But
if you do it for
no
the
good
feeling, like you're still helping someone. So like, who
I
cares?
agree,
Like,
but it
fuck
becomes
off. You know what I mean?
masturbatory. It becomes like not about the other person. Therefore, you're not actually solving their problem or helping them. You just have to
Well, if it
perceive that you're
does.
helping. Yeah, but it becomes about the perception of yourself rather than actually helping them. Like, oh, I'm so helpful. I feel so good. But like,
Well, then you've just lost yourself there.
That's
You know what I
saying.
mean?
Like, you have to have
Like,
that.
you still need to
clarity.
have
It's okay to
self-awareness to know
it's
that
okay
you're
to-
actually helping.
It's okay to enjoy it, but I think that the actual root intent in there is to make the world a little bit a better place.
See,
You know,
that's
like,
the difference. And I wonder about what's the difference between helping people to help yourself and a sacrifice, like making a sacrifice that hurts in a lot of ways and maybe hurts your feelings or hurts your social standing,
Right.
but it makes the world a better place.
The problem I found is that people romanticize sacrifice at that point. So then they go, oh, I can destroy myself in order
Look how sacrificing I am.
Yeah,
I'm so sacrificing.
Like,
You know what I
I
think-
want to be crucified because that's so righteous.
I think the most poignant example of like helping something or someone where it doesn't feel good genuinely is like, let's say you have a pet, like a dog or a cat that you genuinely love, and the time comes when you have to like put it to sleep, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like,
Or
you have
even-
to,
or
I'm
even,
saying,
you know,
like, that's
even
I was
things
thinking
like
about Old
helping-
Yeller today, basically. That
You know,
same thing.
but even things like helping aging family members, you know, like helping them when they have Alzheimer's, when they can't, you know, clean themselves, all these things. This is major sacrifices that that are extremely meaningful, and they might not feel good in the moment, but you have to do them, and the feeling that you get is beyond good. It's more than pleasure. It's more than any sort of like conceptualization we have in that moment of like, this is good or bad. We go, no, this is meta. We have to do this for humanity, for
like,
our family, for the
that
people
was
love,
that was
love
the
itself.
my next question. Should you help someone? Should you still help someone if it hurts you because of this higher, like, is self-preservation a higher law, or is helping the world a higher law?
It's funny that we're talking about all this.
It depends on how much it hurts you, I think.
Has anyone seen the new Superman movie here?
No,
Not yet.
Not yet.
No.
Really, you guys should
But
probably
I saw
watch
the
it.
review from
You said
Dark
it.
Paul.
You said it was good, so I tried to get my family to go see it. But for some reason, my son isn't into Superman. I was pretty bummed.
Well, it might
I
make
tried to
him
get
into
it
Superman.
because of your recommendation. I
Sure.
tried to get my family to go see it.
You know, the Superman in this movie, and I guess in his real true essence, is the supreme helper. He is the one who is the supreme problem solver. If there's a problem, he will find a solution that is non-violent and if he can. If it's not possible, he will go for violence.
I just thought of
in any scenario. And so, you know, like I'm hearing talk about all these sort of discussions about what is good and what is, you know, the idea isn't that you're always going to make the right choice. The idea is that you're always going to try to make the right choice. And if you struggle and you fail, you're going to try to compensate for it and make up for it and correct your error. You're not just going to run away and pretend that everything that like you're a victim now because of the consequences of your own failures. You know, like you have to always step up and make the choice that is optimal for all people. It's a non-zero sum game as much as possible. And if it isn't, then we're losing collectively, basically.
Chris,
all I can say is that
hack to help people, like without truly altruistically, is to try to be as anonymous as possible. You know, they say it's not real charity unless it's anonymous, and
Perhaps.
that's kind of like just put on a mask if you're gonna go help people. It's
but
like,
that's the thing. The mask becomes an idol, right? Like you have
put on a different
mask.
put on a different mask.
Superman is a mask in a way. Like he's an anonymous figure
Clark Kent is the mask.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree. But that's what I'm saying. By mask, I mean persona. Like they're just different personas. And if you put a mask and become anonymous, it becomes an anonymous persona. And then people go, this anonymous person is so good. And then you still feel really good inside because you know you're the anonymous person. And so it's like, okay, well, either way, you're inspiring other people. You know, like the problem, I think, is grandiosity. It's when we become so full of our own shit that we're just like, look how good I am. Look how much good I've done in the world. Therefore, I'm allowed to do whatever I want. Therefore, because of the good I do, the world owes me and I can be bad, basically. That's how people justify things.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, though, you were trying to say something, right?
No, I already said it. I was like, just do it anonymously.
Jack
Do it anonymously.
Jack was the next one. Jack, do you remember what you were trying to say?
yeah.
Jack? Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say that when I first was about to have a kid, it felt really daunting, and like all of the things that like, oh no, like, you know, all of the negative things that people say about having kids like was like hitting me really hard, and I was like, is it gonna really be like that, and all of that. And so like I did have to sacrifice in like a lot of ways in order to make sure that everything in my family was good, that like they're all taken care of and everything like that. But like through that experience and everything, like I wouldn't have it any other way. Like it feels so good to be on the other side of that. And now that just like the other day, my second son is born, and I feel like my family is like pretty secure and together, and like I can take care of that now. Like all of the pain that I went through in order to get to this point is kind of meaningless and worthless. Like it because of like how amazing it felt the other day to just sit there, and I've got my new kid at home and everybody's at home, and like I'm playing with my kid in the other room, so he doesn't feel like, oh no, like there's another kid here, and am I going to be like out of the way? So I'm like taking care of him and like playing basketball and video games and stuff like that. Like that day was such a beautiful feeling that like all of the sacrifice that had to like get to that point, like I said, it's just kind of meaningless, and I would do it all over again. It's really great.
That's important. I think that children re-establish our priorities in this crazy way, because we can put so much energy into, you know, frivolous materialism instead of something sustaining. something that like exists beyond us, and it's huge. I wonder also about, like, we're thinking about every time you help somebody, it helps the world, or if you help each other, help the world, then the world all becomes more helped and better. But beyond sacrifice, do you think that like self-sacrifice for helping, do you think that helping one person inadvertently requires that another person is harmed? Is there a balance like that exists? Does helping one person always harm someone else or harm something else? Are you
It's a
taking
good
from
question.
life to give life?
Right. The world is, the universe is eat or be eaten sort of thing, but consciousness and love is the distinguishing factor. We are able to defy that nature. We are able to synergize and to reach a higher state. I think, I don't think that it has to be a zero-sum game. I think that
I like that word you use, synergize. I think concepts like love and, for example, gratitude, these are like godly virtues. These are things that only God can, I think, truly, or source can truly embody fully without destroying itself. So I think it's like,
real thing, right?
This is where I think the harmony thing comes into play, like between your mind, body, and soul. Like you could have as much spiritual energy as you want, but if your body can't sustain it, and if your mind is rejecting it, then it's only going to vaporize you. So it's like, I think this is where things like Kundalini practices can like go out of whack, is if you're not in the optimal physical state to receive all that higher source energy, like things like love and altruistic desire to help. I mean, it's kind of like it has to be a more powerful engine in between those three points.
Yeah, so I think to answer your question, that like the answer is like sort of yes. In order to truly like help somebody, that you do have to sacrifice or to feel pain or negativity or something like that. But ultimately, like what I think I'm getting at is that the sacrifice, the pain that comes from that is ultimately an illusion, because once you can see that you've like really actually like helped another person, especially one that you love, then it becomes a meaningless kind of sacrifice, like, oh, like you would do it again kind of thing. Like, I don't know how to put it very well.
The thing is, I'm going back to neurology, but we spend our time, whatever we do forms neural pathways, and those neural pathways become our life. They become our cycles. They become the thing we do every day. And when you incorporate someone else's problem, someone else's life into your own patterns, then you're giving up some of your space, some of your time, some of your neurology that you were devoting to something else before. And you have to sacrifice that. You have to sacrifice your old neural pathways for your new neural pathways. And I think that is the real sacrifice. The sacrifice we have to make is the energy we're wasting on bullshit that doesn't help others, basically, and it's a valid sacrifice. Don't sacrifice your health or your mental health or your physical, like any of that. Just sacrifice the bullshit. Burn off the deadwood. That's the real sacrifice, like do that. Burn off your deadwood and your life will thrive eventually.
I feel like that's a big part of why people pray over their food. They pray over their food. I mean, this is Chris's major point every episode is gratitude, right? Gratitude. Is being grateful for who bears the cost of the help in these individual and large scale systems that we live in. Is that, like there's something died for you to live, like every single moment, something is dying for you to live. And to have gratitude is really huge. Yeah,
I mean, on something that like Julia would like, I think like on a physical level, maybe it does make your heart center emit an electromagnetic pulse that affects the water in your food to make it more palatable to your consumption. Who knows? Like I think there's something to that, because there's been experiments about how like your emotions and your intention can literally like affect a plant. When you scream at it.
Oh yeah, like if you're like mindlessly eating. If you're just mindlessly eating versus like praying over your food and like grateful for it, like that's probably going to do like a lot of things biologically to prepare your body to make better use of the food in general, because that you're grateful for it.
Wouldn't have considered that. Yeah,
I think that like humans have a very scared idea of death, and this sort of idea of death is what keeps us from making sacrifices and keeps us from fully devoting ourselves to our life's work, basically. Like a flower doesn't worry about dying. A tree isn't concerned about it. It just does its thing. and then we eat its fruit, and that's it. You know, like it's
That's
just
good.
there.
How do you explain
mind
Wagyu beef?
control.
You know,
That's
but it's
positive.
like
That's positive. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, but positive programming right there. I get
sure, but you know, it's like
gratitude reframes harm.
some
And
things.
instead focuses on the gifts.
Some things in nature exist solely to feed the other parts of nature, and it's happy in that role. It doesn't go like, oh my god, like I don't want to serve others by bearing fruit so that they can eat the fruit. They just go,
I don't know. I don't want to do what
it.
I'm meant to do.
Exactly, you know, and so, you know, whatever you devote your life to, you are sacrificing your life to it. So choose carefully. You know, you have to. If you don't choose carefully, then you're literally giving your life force away, and it's going to go away either way. Like you can give it away to nothing, but
the Chinese model, the Chinese have a really good model for this. So basically, you know about the whole current of qi that's flowing in every living thing, and every living thing is basically a container for their own qi currents. So bigger animals, larger animals have bigger qi. So they have a bigger capacity to feel fear energy, for example. But when you consume their flesh, you gain the material strength. So I do think there's like a balance to be set. It's like maybe your home was being invaded and you needed the strength of red meat to defend your country. So then, yeah, you have to like make that mutual exchange, that sacred exchange of energy. However, at the cost of consuming all of its like karmic energy as well. And on the flip side, if maybe you're at a point in your life where you could benefit more from a lighter karmic build, maybe you should be a vegetarian. Maybe you should stick to a lighter diet. Maybe that will make you feel, you know, more optimized for your current life setting.
Right.
I like that shit, you know, because it paints a picture. Like,
humans have like dormant genes, and they have genes that are awake most of the time, but they go dormant when we don't access them. Like if you have something in your diet for 1,000 years and then you stop having it in your diet, your body still has it in its system that it can have these things, you know. Doesn't mean it should always have these things, but it's okay that it had it for a few thousand years. Now it doesn't have it, and doesn't mean that we should go back to eating like paleo, you know, like raw meat or whatever. Like even the paleo diet, you know, that's not the real paleo diet, you know, like we were eating that way and now we go, this is the healthy way. Okay, well, you're still using some modern cooking stuff. Why don't you put it over a fire, see how well that goes, you know? But,
alchemy.
Yeah, sure. Alchemy.
And currency, like, so gratitude, if cheese in a spiritual exchange, then gratitude becomes the currency. And I wanted to pull up what I said, like I wrote it down again. Gratitude reframes harm. Instead of focusing on loss, you focus on the gifts. I think that's a major point of that psychology. So if the universe is helping us, but we still experience it as suffering, like samsara, right? Like, is that still help? Because there's a lot of times things will happen to you. We were talking about, you know, people go through things that will destroy them. People will die of disease, of age, of, you know, of violence.
It's funny, you know, I have every time I suffer, I tend to go back to this sort of like idea of just like, it's just suffering. You know, like it's just suffering. Like it's part of life. You know, like it's just suffering. I've suffered. We've all suffered, and like, yeah, it sucks. But like
there's other traffic or something.
There's other shit, you know, like you gotta suffer in the same way you gotta shit, you know, like it's part of life. I don't get angry every time I have to go to the bathroom, like even if it's not fun, you know, like, but it's
imagine going to the bathroom angry.
Is it just suffering, or I feel like suffering might be more than just suffering. Like the whole point.
No, I'm well aware.
I don't know about you guys. Like I get really angry when I go to the bathroom. I hate like Jesus Christ, I have to do this shit again.
But
that's what I feel like.
That's it. You know, you live just to
want to be grateful.
But you know, that's the thing. It's like if you focus too much on suffering, like I hate.
I have to take a fucking piss now.
I hate reductionist language. You know, like I hate ideas of saying something is just this or that, because I feel like it undermines what it actually is. And I know that suffering is more than just suffering, but I keep telling myself this as an alchemical tool to reduce its impact on me. Okay, it's suffering, but like, don't give it too much fucking time.
Honestly, yeah, I get that.
What are you going to do? Dwell on it? Like, it's just going to increase the suffering.
Like an example would be like,
I see what you're saying.
asking me for a ride, and I'm like, fuck, I don't want to, and it, you know, whatever. But I think like
That's it.
in the back of my head, I'm like, I'm thankful at least I have friends to drive home.
It's
you know?
minor inconvenience. My friend could die tomorrow. You know,
Yeah.
like fuck, I'll give him what am I gonna do instead? Stay at home and smoke weed? Like
You know,
what?
Exactly.
What
Yeah.
is so?
I'm
there's a
gonna
couple thoughts
suffer
there.
so much instead this suffering instead of that
So-
suffering. You know, which one
But
should I?
Yeah, like-
suffering is
Like
But
if I wouldn't have
suffering's
had
important.
kids, like what I would have missed out on playing like some RPG games or something. Like really, ultimately,
You're
like
playing an RPG game.
it was
with your
so
kids
much better of a
instead.
trade. Yeah, I'm
the
leveling
loading
up.
screens were suffering. Okay, but the universe is filled with suffering, and life itself is suffering in a sense. And life is a bunch of lessons that you're learning, right? And if you're dead, you can't learn lessons anymore, and you learn lessons through suffering. So the longer you live, the more suffering you have, and so you should frame it that you have had more lessons. Might be because you needed more lessons than somebody else, but at least you got those lessons. And
I'm learning like crazy this
You know,
month.
death might be death.
Every
might
time
be,
you go to the bathroom.
Death might be some sort of like some way to
thankful I have,
assimilate
like-
all this suffering into a meaningful framework. Like when you're in the forest, you can't. When you're in the tree, you can't see you're in the forest. You know, like so when you're in suffering, you can't see the function of suffering. But when you're dead, you're outside of it. Maybe you can actually recognize it and assimilate it in a meaningful manner. In the same way, dreams serve this sort of function.
Suffering is not punishment; it's the field of growth.
Right. You know, like I think I compare it to muscle growth. In order for muscles to grow, they have to tear. You can't have growth without destruction. It's part of creation.
I think some of the people that get really into
From
this
now-
idea are like athletes, right? Athletes, because they're always like, I gotta suffer, no pain, no gain. And then there's also like a lot of like cryptographers. They're like, dude, I like the suffering of coming across problems. That's what I do. I solve problems. Or a locksmith, you know, like.
But
I think
suffering
if
is a meme, you know, like the idea of suffering is framed culturally. We have a certain perception of it and we're afraid of it as a result. It's like people don't want to feel pain. They don't want to feel suffering. But if we contextualize it as experience gaining, as I don't know, like XP growth or some kind of, you know, like if you were like,
without the grind,
more suffering, the
there's-
stronger you get, you know, like it depends on what kind of suffering.
Without suffering, there's no story. Without suffering, there's no story. There's no learning. There's no motion. There's only stillness.
Next time I'm suffering,
And
I'm
that
just
can
gonna
be-
tell myself like, holy shit, I'm gonna learn so much.
Yes.
After
You,
this.
you got to tell yourself this is the part of my
I'm
hero's
gonna
journey.
learn
where
so
I'm-
good. Like this is the best suffering. I'm
It's the
gonna
old
love it.
Jocko Willink good. You know,
When
no
you
matter
could
what
trick
happens, good.
when you could hack your
I'm
perspective.
so
to your- to the-
excited that I'm suffering right now.
Yo, you know what you're doing? You're hacking the part of your
hon-
perspective that to look
honestly,
at yourself from the dungeon master's perspective and not the character.
you can develop a
Word.
palette for suffering where you go, ooh, this is some high quality suffering compared to
Oh, this is some
shitty
good
suffering
shit. This is some
last
good
week."
suffering right now.
Yeah, this feels way more. This is more satisfying suffering than that shit ass suffering I was doing over there. You know.
Yeah, that was weak sauce suffering, dude. This is the good stuff.
I think that is actually determined by how meaningful the suffering is, right? Like if you have a reason to suffer, then you're like, okay, I can tolerate this way better than like meaningless suffering over there, you know?
Yes, the hero's journey, everybody.
Do you think helping really exists then? Because we're
Yeah.
facilitating parts of everything. Is
Well,
help
the
something
help-
that actually even happens? Or
It
are we
helps
just
us.
feeling like we're
It's as real as any other meme. What we have is cause and effect, and we're just part of this sort of cause and effect engine. And so help, of course, has a huge impact, and of course, it's super meaningful. And we give it the meaning that we give it, but ultimately, what matters is the way we catalyze each other's lives and the novelty we bring through intent and through action.
Yeah, is the desire to help really just like the desire to be in control in disguise? I mean, like when
It's-
parents want to control the lives of their kids and teach them hard
Yeah,
lessons.
I'm
and
just trying to
everything.
help.
Life's
But I
already
mean,
hard
it-
enough, right?
At its root is ego, right? But ego is the mover, so it's okay. It's just people demonize ego. We even demonize pleasure to the point where we're like, if you feel good from helping, then it's bad. And like we have this sort of guilt-driven mentality all the time, where we're just like we're so guilty of something that even being good is bad. You know, like it's okay. Just try, you know, like sincerely try. And that is way better than not trying. And the probability of helping the world increases through effort and through intent.
I still
feel
think we
like
got to
it's-
look at it
it's-
more
it's-
fundamentally. Sorry, what are you saying?
No, go you on first.
I mean, I would consider more energy, like more of your energy. Like, where is your energy going? Is your energy going to self-serving ends, or is your energy going to more outward, external serving ends? And if you could actually take account and take stock of where your shit is going, then
my question, my question then is, you know, you were talking about as above, so below, and it's like, if the individual self-serves, then does that serve everyone then? Like,
I
do you
think
have
so.
to, you know, it's hard to draw that balance, right?
Because the only things, because what would really make you a bad person is doing things that are not good for you. You know, like eventually you become more irritable, you make worse decisions, you do the wrong things. Like, it really does like have to start with the self. If you can't love yourself, you can't really love anything else.
I guess,
you know?
I guess the issue is that there can be unhealthy ego, right? So people can overindulge in some things, and then that's when they become grandiose, and they're like, "Oh, I'm entitled to have an island of my own, or I can have, you know, slaves, or I can have whatever."
Well, this is why I think,
or I am God and the devil, and I can make you learn this lesson easier than life itself can teach it to you. I think that's what a lot of parents do. Parents seriously think, oh my God, my kid's going to go out into the world and they're going to learn this lesson the hard way and hurt themselves. I need to teach them this lesson. And they end up hurting them and taking away their opportunity to learn. It's pulling the wings off of a butterfly so it can never fly. And they think that they're making it easier when they end up making it harder, right? When you think you're helping and you're harming.
Mm-hmm. You know, like there's a problem. It's hard to say what's good or bad, because often good outcomes emerge out of bad mistakes. So, you know, like you were saying,
I think
you were saying with Hitler, for example, but there's other examples
takes
where,
longer.
like, let's say you try to unify a part of geography. Let's say you're a government, or you're a warlord or something, and you're like, I want to unify Japan, for example, and then you make a whole bunch of people suffer to unify Japan, and then you're literally demonized for centuries. But centuries later, you have a unified Japan, and you go, okay, well, now we have a different culture that is completely different than anything that could have been thousands of years ago, and all that suffering led to this point where we're now able to, you know, not kill each other constantly, first of all, and we're able to produce artistic culture on a mass scale, in science, all the things, maintain spirituality, and yet it came from an act that many people deemed evil. You know, like, if you have what is good on the scale of the meta, you know, like beyond what the lower considers good and evil, if you can see the outcome of evil and it's good, should you do evil? You know, like, you
should do nothing.
Evil.
You're allowed to do nothing.
That's the act of doing nothing.
Yeah, it sounds like
is often most helpful. You know,
help and harm, so help and harm can be the same thing, because it's a form of disguised control, trying to control someone else. So maybe better than help is to facilitate. To try to
facilitate,
to cultivate. Don't be like Vincent, a helper, be a gardener. Like, you know.
Vincent was saying he
did any of you
interrupt someone from losing their alcoholism, but he wants to facilitate them to step away from their alcoholism. But he can only do that when he's facilitating them doing it for themselves.
You know, I've thought about it. I've thought about going the cruel method where I'd kidnap my friend and tie him to a chair and force him not to drink for 40 days or whatever. But I'm going like, you know, it's probably not that's probably traumatic. It's going to cause, it might solve it neurologically, but medically he'll hate me and he'll suffer and he'll have the trauma, you know? So
and trying to unbalkanize Japan. I mean, like help on a mass scale is empire building, and it's not necessarily help. Maybe it's trying to redirect the forces of the universe, which is like the difference between magic and mysticism on some level, is rather than taking the energy and letting it flow in different paths, you're forcing it to turn around and flow different directions. You might be stopping some sort of help, stopping something from healing or growing on its own.
Right.
Did any of you ever grow up with like knowing somebody where like they would say like, oh, they try and be so helpful, like they think they're so helpful, they're always trying to help or whatever, and it's like really annoying for people and they don't realize like this person, I don't know, like I feel like I've run into this a lot,
right? That was,
but I can't think.
That was kind of,
there's a difference between being helpful and trying to be helpful, you know, like if you're just in the way, you're just in the way. Sometimes, especially if you lack experience, if you lack knowledge, then the intent Like what you should be doing to be helpful is paying attention and learning and growing so you can be helpful later.
Yeah, there's like helpaholics, but like that they're just bugging people sometimes.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a meaning.
So,
It's
again,
a
that's
meaning
what I
issue.
think.
They can't generate
I
meaning
get that.
within, so
That's
they
how
need
this
you.
started, right? Like I looked at a message from a family member that said, like, I'm praying for you and hoping that you find humility and all of these things. And it's like, do I feel helped by that? Maybe this is somehow turning that energy.
The first
into
thing that I
feel like
thought
is helping me.
when they said that to you, my reaction, like, you're not me and I'm not you or whatever, but like if somebody said that to me, I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing to help people? Like, what are you asking me
actually,
for?
It made me
That
laugh.
would be the
Like,
first thing that I'd say.
How humble does someone need to be to tell someone else to be humble? You know. Like,
I have a good input on this. Like, so for example, when you're in a team, everyone essentially for the team to succeed, everyone has to be helpful. But the problem with teams is that everyone's different. You're working with a dynamic group of people. So not to reference the CIA again, but they have this model they use called the animal kingdom. You could look this up. And apparently the CIA animal kingdom is they attribute 4 archetypes to a team member, a proprietary team member. So they would say you're either a cheetah, a lion, a fox, or a bear. Now the cheetah is the get shit done guy, the type A. He's moving 1,000,000 miles a minute. It's like, oh, we need this done. The cheetah's like, I did it already. The fox is the out of the box thinker. They're the ones who come up with solutions that are so far out of the parameters, but it's needed. And then the bear is great at establishing relationships, you know, interpersonal relationships and whatnot. And the lion is the leader, is the leader archetype. You need them to tie the whole thing together.
all right. So what about
I think
us
it's like,
right now? Which one are we? I guess Andreas is the lion. You
I'm
are
probably-
the cheetah.
yeah, I'm probably a cheetah.
I'm the fox.
I'm the fox.
No, you're the bear.
I'm the bear.
You're the bear. Yeah, you're the bear, bro.
Yeah, you're the bear, bro.
I'm the bear. What does the bear do?
Yeah, but this is a real thing.
babies.
So
Dancing bear.
it makes me
makes
laugh
babies.
because like I'm like even the CIA uses like astrology type MBTI type shit, you know, like
You know, but the thing is,
This
we all have
method, for
these
sure.
are archetypal, right? So like we do have those archetypes all within ourselves. And I think that we rise to the occasion based on who's there. If there's no cheetah around, someone else will take the role of the cheetah because out of necessity, it just will happen, kind of thing. It might not be the best cheetah in the world, but it'll serve the cheetah role, you know.
Cheetahs are accelerators of the team. Bears are esteemed for their remarkable interpersonal abilities and masters of relationship building. Foxes are known for their shrewd strategy and agility. You're good at that for sure. You can connect all. Man, you do that with a lot of different kinds of people, man. I know how you talk with Forrest. Lions are leaders symbolizing courage and power. I would say like it almost reminds me also of Chris in a lot of ways. So describe a time when you had to deliver results under tight deadlines, something the cheetah will say. I feel like I can do that sometimes. Bear, can you recall an instance where you helped a team member during a challenging situation? Fox, tell us about a complex problem you faced and how to solve it. Lions, can you provide examples where you led a team through a significant challenge? Right.
and I think
These
this
are
is
pretty good.
And I think this is interesting because notice how they're all predators, like all 4 of those archetypes. And I think that's specifically designed in an adversarial function. Like that kind of team you build if you're about to go up against someone else playing these meta games, like one false move and your whole identity gets burnt and then your whole family is exposed, you know, shit like
That's
that.
it. Well, vegetarian, like, I mean, animals that are herbivores tend to be passive because they just wait for plants to grow and then they eat them.
Yeah.
While predators have to form strategies and hunt and actively engage in the world, and if they don't have what they need, then they have to, like, you know, find ways to find it, while plants just tend to grow, you know.
So I only pointed out because, like, if you're going to be helpful, like, in what way? Like, maybe your strength is like being helpful in specific things. Like, maybe I'm better at building relationships. Maybe I'm better at just getting shit done for people. Maybe I'm better at like inspiring others through my own actions for myself, you know?
Sure.
Or maybe I'm better at just being imaginative. Like,
you know,
I think that helps.
It's an ecosystem. I don't think that monocropping humans is going to be the way to go. I think that diversity of these archetypes is really what will help, because there's so many different types of people out there, all with these different functions and all these different influences. And, you know, if they weren't doing that thing, they might be doing something worse instead. So it's better that they're passive and that they're currently what they are until they can serve more, until they can actually help. Because, you know, they might have more power than they realize, but their passiveness keeps us from them using it irresponsibly, basically. Like there's a lot of
Do
like dormant,
parents confuse helping with controlling?
you know, like there's a. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Go on.
Oh, it was up on the screen. It
No, I
said,
saw it.
do parents can? Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
Sorry,
I
I
was,
didn't mean
I
to
was
interrupt.
adding he's exposing them to pain early, harming them worse by making them suffer twice, once at home and once in the world. Nacho King says parents can help us to death sometimes. That's a thing. I got a bigger way to frame that maybe, which is God helping us? Do you think God is helping us?
I think that, you know, it's part of the system, and that God, like, it's to say he's helping us or not is odd to me, because obviously it's what it's supposed to happen. It's the optimal path in the end. So right now we might be like, oh, I'm suffering, therefore God's not helping me, but the suffering is what we need right now.
I think there's a good middleman helpers. You know, if you could like kind of think it through, like if you
there's
ask,
angels everywhere.
yeah, you could ask your future self, for example, for guidance.
Like the
I do it
person-
all the time.
Like the person who took the picture of the license plate for you, you know,
Yeah.
like that.
Oh, yeah.
To me, that's
Guardian
like,
angels.
to me, that's God. That's God right there going like, boom, you had someone covering your ass. You know, like
That's
it's
true.
just it's the universe giving you what you need.
God
Even
like
if-
helps us so well that we don't even know he's there until like the most supreme, like ultimate moment, that it's like reminds us suddenly, like really subtly, like, oh, that was some minor miracle going on there.
The thing is that we tend to only turn to God when things aren't synergized. So when we go like, why are we out of sync? Why am I not currently synchronized? And then we go, God, please synchronize me. And then usually it does, because we've did it psychically. We've put the effort, we've done the action, and now it's going to respond. But before that, we stop paying attention.
Please, God, for the love of God, help me, please, God.
I think
Are
it's
we
also
helping
like
God
the
by
solution.
existing? Sorry, you
I think
first,
the
sorry.
solution to all of our problems is already all around us. It's just that when you ask God for help, it puts you in a state where you could actually see it. Because when you're
Yeah.
not in that state, there's a filter over your perspective.
I agree.
Where you can't see the solutions, and then you say, "Please, God, help," and then that veil gets lifted because of your
Right.
state, and then like, "Yay, I see the
Maya.
solution."
The veil, Maya. It's like, you know, we have periods where we fall asleep, and these periods of slumber are sort of the automated moments in our lives where we're like, oh shit, like a year went by and it went by like that. You know, like we've been just working, grinding, and we've been in semi-automatic mode. And then we have these points that we hit where we awake again, and those moments are when we pay attention the most. And it comes often with prayer, meditation, like these other things. And the problem, I think, is that people wait too long. They wait until the end of the cycle completely, and then they go, oh fuck, like shit is falling apart, and like I need to like restructure. And then that's when they turn to God. But they could have been doing it before. They could have been paying attention at any point. They just kind of, you know, I don't know why, but I think it's just we don't pay attention about not paying attention. So we don't stop ourselves from not paying attention. We just kind of click off, and then we go,
That's why I think it's a great practice, like Chris always says, to just like stay in touch with being grateful, so that you don't fall out of that.
I agree.
That like so that you're reminding yourself like, oh, God's there even when things are going great. Like, oh, thank you for
I agree.
all of these things.
I agree, but that's different than consulting directly with God through prayer or something like that. If you just have like a constant like a background program running of gratitude, fantastic. It's great. It's super important. But like it's not the same thing as like that honing point where you're just like a rift in the absurd opens and you're looking.
I think
at
what
God
Vincent
going,
is saying is that when you come across like a serious problem that you can't figure out in your life, like things like prayer and meditation, it gives you the opportunity to sit back and ask, like, what am I not allowing myself to see? Like clearly I would.
What is your will?
It also produces epiphanies. So your brain processes all the information, reformats it, and then just pushes it out as an epiphany or revelation. And then you go, oh shit, I figured it out. Like I now have the answer. And it took that moment of silence. You know, in the cycle, we're so self-distracting. We're so constantly in our neural pathway, just, okay, well, I got to do this to function, you know? But when you go and just stop, like the daily prayer stuff for Islam, for example, like they're onto something with that. Like neurologically, like it's an anchor. It allows you to constantly be like, yo, the world is suffering, but I'm reminded and I'm grateful and I'm here right now. And there's no other distractions. I'm just here with God, you know? And I think
Yeah,
it's fine.
that's how I feel
I liked
about
it.
martial arts classes. Like every Tuesday or Saturday or sometimes Thursdays, like I'm like, the world is crazy, but I'm here. I'm practicing
Yeah.
swordsmanship. It's just me and
Sure.
the thing, you know.
Putting your third eye to the ground towards the east. I mean, that seems kind of interesting, man. I did that in Visoko at the pyramid at the mosque, and the fact that you ground your third eye is a major part of their ritual. And it seems really weird at first until you recognize, like, I was raised Catholic. There's these pews you sit in with this like bench thing you get down on your knees on, and you stand up and you sit down. And you do. It's actually like the same thing that other religious groups do. It's just a little bit more focused, and yeah, I think it's pretty underrated. Like, I don't know, after dealing with a lot of Orthodox, I'm actually pretty impressed with the Muslims. I don't know if I like the howling sound of the Sarajevo wolves as much, but you know,
Sure, but you didn't-
realistically, like,
You weren't really hanging
Yeah.
out with Orthodox.
Also,
What kind of experience have
I'm
you had
surrounded
with
with
the Orthodox? That like what is it like?
All right, but wait, before we get to that,
generally-
I just wait. Sorry, never mind.
Good
Continue.
point.
I don't have
No,
to
yeah,
say that.
we can push Orthodox on another thing. Like, I want to talk about them because
I mean, I have to get going at some point soon.
and it's pretty beautiful. There's a lot of things that are pretty beautiful about the Orthodox tradition as well. But I think
It's the one
the
I
idea
gravitate
that-
towards.
We'll talk about it and at some point, and like why I feel like it's a bit of a facade or like a materialist facade that's not. I'm
Right.
off put by it.
I feel like orthodoxy is often the worship of orthodoxy. It's like it turns it into an idol, and it goes like, this is the most valuable thing, and I'm better than you because I do orthodoxy. And it's just like it becomes a sort of ego driven like mindset where you're just like, I'm better than non-orthodox.
An idea of orthocentrism, that they think that they're the one true path and that all of the things are false. I mean, it gets
Right,
kind of
it's-
Well, I
dangerous
mean,
to, like, talk about
every
beliefs.
religion feels that way,
No,
but like
not
they do
every
have
religion feels that way. Actually,
No, but
A lot
every
of religions
Orthodox
don't
pretty
feel that way.
much like
No,
you know, like
for
every
instance, like,
Christian
all sort of-
denomination
No,
feels
I don't
like
think so.
they're the one that does it right.
No, I mean, no,
You know?
because like
I don't really hold that
Eastern-
against anyone.
Can I ask you
particularly
guys-
Eastern. Let me just say, particular Eastern beliefs, Sanatana Dharma, and different groups of India, they're always asking you, like, what are you doing? Not thinking that you need to be doing what they're doing. Everyone has a different reality. Everyone has a different existential karma that they're supposed to work out. They're asking you how you're processing your karma, and they're curious about your path. But your path is not the same as anyone else's path. And there's never a question about why you're supposed to be doing something that someone else is doing. That's never been an Eastern way of thinking. It's a very Western way of thinking, but it's only recently, and it only comes after the plague and the Crusades and the
And
murder
the Industrial
of any kind of
Revolution.
Christian. Yeah, but also the Talmudics and the Sadducees and the Babylonians. I mean, this idea that there's one way to be, one true way, is a very dangerous way of thinking. I mean, there's a way of being that Jesus was, but even that strips away what we think of as liturgical dogma and focuses on your relationship with the higher self, which was kind of, I just wanted to say, like, what my, because we're at the end, really, is the last question, like, are we helping God? I think that's kind of the question I really want to ask. Like, are we helping God by existing? I hope to God that we can, right? Because what's the point?
But I mean, like,
why would God want you to exist if you're not helping God by existing?
Look, but it's just God. It's not about helping; it's about function, I think, and we're automatically doing the function. So we are useful for God, but helpful. It's like, you know, what do we? It's like, it sounds like that child who wants to help too much. You go up to God and go, "How can I help you, God?" And then God goes like, "You're already doing it."
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
Go do your thing.
It's only to
just
validate
loves
the
us.
inner self. You know, it's to go like, "Oh, I hope I'm helping God. I hope that." But you already are. There's no doubt about it. You're already serving.
Yes,
it all serves.
Yes, you are by existing.
Yeah, but just, you know, the framing of helpfulness is just silly. It's just like, it sounds like little kids just.
Are you saying like since?
No. You are a cognitive.
Are you saying since God is perfect that you can't really help God because God is like ultimate supreme? So like, how could you possibly help God?
It's like God is already
doing God's will is
through you.
Because God loves us. Like doing God's will is just whatever's best for us as humans because God created us to be loved and
we are
and
literally
to
avatars. We are avatars of God's will, and if we are not avatars of God's will, then maybe we can help him. But ultimately, he made us as part of this complete algorithmic function that is from point A to point B, supposed to begin and to end. And so to help or not to help, you might just become more aware of your usefulness and integrate it and synchronize. But helpful or not helpful, I think that's like there's an ego thing somewhere in there,
I think
like, I'm more helpful than him.
No, we shouldn't think of ourselves as more helpful than someone else, but I think we should be aware that life is something that's precious and that we're useful. Like you said, we're useful to the function of God having a thought. And all of time, space, all of existence, all of life, all of love, all of suffering for lessons learned. These are all part of God's thought, and it's probably helpful to God to have that thought. So on a level that we should be aware and stay humble of, I think our existence does help in a sense.
It is very useful. It is very helpful to frame it that way. So yeah,
I am God's lion. I am God's
The memes
cheetah.
are very helpful. It helps.
I am God's bear.
Ronaldo asked, "Who's this guy in the
That's
top
Jordan,
left corner?"
Yeah, no.
You mean you don't know about Jordan?
Andreas, isn't it?
I think it means him.
Andreas is top left.
Yeah, you
Oh, I'm looking at. I was autistic-ism-ing. Oops.
Yeah.
I don't know. I honestly
That's
don't know
embarrassing.
anything about either of them, but I hope to interview them soon. Guys, this has been great. Is there anything you want to say before we shut down?
Thank you.
Orthodox is the only path.
They die as a woman.
It's okay to be what you are. Like we always want to be something else, but like you are helpful or useful or whatever you want to call it. Like in the path that you are, you impact more than you know, and you should, find your potential and manifest your potential, because that's where you're going to be more useful and have more power to be more useful. So empower yourself, but keep in mind that your patterns and your behaviors, like you can't justify everything through your good actions. You can't just be like, I'm good, therefore I'm going to harm myself,
Totally.
And don't touch children on an island or anywhere.
And don't do drugs. Drugs are bad.
Well, it depends on what.
Yeah, I guess.
Whoa. I draw a line somewhere, okay? And drugs
Chris
and
is
children.
posted.
Just say no.
Just
Chris
say yes.
has said before, I'll say
He's
again
a
that we
great
need to be grateful, and let's use gratitude as
I'm grateful for
tool.
all of you. I'm grateful for you, Andreas. You're a wonderful human being. Don't you forget it, okay? And don't
Thank
you
you,
let
bro.
any random family member that you never heard of tell you otherwise, okay?
And tell him I said, what are you helping? What
Yeah,
are you helping, dude?
If we want, we can go beat him up.
No,
Let's do it.
God,
Let's get him.
God have mercy on us all.
Or her.
All right.
God have
Peace.
mercy.
Peace, guys.
There's philosophy in me.